Chapter 1983, Chapter 1983, The Great Emperor Falls? Chapter 1983, The Great Emperor Falls. The celestial thearch's corporeal body slashed through the giant lizard's flames and charged toward it. However, the other great emperor powerhouses also made their moves at the same time. All kinds of terrifying attacks bombarded the celestial emperor's body. Hengyu, not killing me that year was your biggest mistake. Today one will tear your body apart. Those powerful living beings had been suppressed for countless years. When they saw the celestial emperor's body, they were filled with brutal intent and endless killing intent. Their eyes were red as they unleashed terrifying attacks. Although these beings had been suppressed for countless years and their combat power had been greatly reduced, they were still great emperor realm beings. Their strength was still significant. After all, the celestial emperor's corporeal body was just a corporeal body. Many people joined forces and all kinds of attacks landed on the celestial emperor's corporeal body, forcing it to retreat. However, even though the celestial emperor's body had retreated, there was not a single wound on its stone body. But the stone sword trembled, and the stone man burst with a brilliant light. At this moment, the celestial emperor's physical body seemed to have recovered. The stone sword streaked across the sky, and sword light burst forth. The expressions of several powerful existences changed drastically as they were sent flying by the sword. At this moment, the space in that area cracked open again, and more experts stepped out to join in the attack on the celestial emperor's corporeal body. Kill our way out. Wash the primordial realm with blood. Behind the vortex there were constant roars. The killing intent was like a tide, making people's faces change. The massive three-eyed god was doing everything it could to keep the vortex up, trying to make it bigger. There were a total of 10 great emperors attacking the celestial emperor's corporeal body. Everyone's faces turned ugly at the sight. 10 great emperors, what a shocking number. The number of great emperors in the Yuan mountain sacred land didn't even add up to 10. Many of them had a serious look on their faces. If the heavenly emperor couldn't stop the alien races, the consequences would be unimaginable. The celestial thearch's physical body glowed brighter and brighter. At this moment, his stone-like body seemed to be transforming into a body of flesh and blood. His combat strength was also becoming more and more terrifying. The stone sword flew across the sky and blocked the attacks of the 10 great emperors. Selah. At this time the space kept cracking open. Emperor Formless, Emperor Heng, Emperor He, and the great emperors of the Daluo heaven sect all appeared. They all had serious expressions on their faces as they joined the battle to help the celestial emperor's corporeal body resist the great emperors. Kill? With a helper, the pressure on the celestial thearch's corporeal body was greatly reduced. He shouted, and the stone sword broke through several attacks in a row. He rushed to the front of the giant lizard and slashed out with the stone sword. At this moment, the stone sword seemed to have turned into an indestructible divine object. It was extremely sharp and cut off one of the giant lizard's tails. The giant lizard roared and retreated frantically. At the same time, the attacks of the other powerhouses landed on the celestial emperor's corporeal body. However, the celestial emperor's corporeal body could not be bothered at all. It was as if there was only the giant lizard in his eyes. The attacks landed on the celestial emperor's body, causing it to shake for a moment before it continued to attack the giant lizard. The sword light pierced through the void and entered the giant lizard's glabella, sinking into the hilt. Hengyu roar. The giant lizard let out a roar of despair, but in the next moment, the celestial thearch's physical combat sword sliced the giant lizard's body in half. Endless blood and flesh were sucked into the two worlds and disappeared. A great emperor had been killed by the celestial emperor's corporeal body just like that. Of course, this was also related to the fact that the giant lizard had been suppressed for many years and had yet to recover its strength. However, it was still shocking enough. Kill? The celestial thearch's corporeal body went berserk as he attacked the others. After a few moves he killed another powerful existence. The celestial emperor's corporeal body had killed 2 powerful enemies in a row. This was shocking. Every single one of them was a great emperor. They were at the peak of their power and were terrifying to the extreme, but now they had all fallen one after another. There's not much energy left in his physical body. He only has a wisp of mark left, so it's difficult for him to mobilize the heavenly Tao energy. If we attack him together, he won't be able to hold on for long. The Devil Spirit Religion Master roared. Their attacks continued to bombard Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. The battle between Emperor Formless and the others was also very intense. All kinds of power flashed and the great Tao was added to his body. It was extremely shocking. Fortunately, the space near the world of the lotus flower was special. Although Lu Ming and the rest looked like they were not far from the world of the lotus flower, they were actually very far away. Otherwise, they would definitely have been implicated by the aftermath of the Great Emperor's battle. Even so, it was still shocking to see. Boom, boom, boom. The shock waves from the clash between great emperors were too great. The 9 lotus petals, which were 9 worlds, shook violently as if they were about to explode under the terrifying energy. Whoosh! A jet-black destructive light burst forth and swept through one of the worlds. The space of that world was torn apart. Even though Lu Ming and the rest were far away, they could see that countless people in that world were destroyed by the destructive power and turned into ashes. 10,000 Sea Realm. Lu Ming's gaze turned to the 10,000 Seas realm. The realm was also shaking violently. If it was pierced through, the people inside would be in danger. Lu Ming revealed a worried look. The celestial thearch's corporeal body exploded, and the light became even more resplendent. He launched a storm-like attack and seriously injured another powerful existence. However, the aura of the celestial thearch's corporeal body began to weaken. In the end, it's too difficult to turn back. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body shook his head. Then he threw out the stone sword, which turned into thousands of sword lights and attacked those existences. His corporeal body instantly split into 8 and became even larger. Each figure carried a petal and flew toward the endless void. Only the 9th world had no one, so he didn't care. Finally, the celestial thearch's corporeal body carried the 8 worlds and charged into the boundless void. Heavenly Flood Dragon, take care. Lu Ming muttered and heaved a long sigh of relief. Even though worlds like the 10,000 Sea Realm might never cross paths with the primordial realm after entering the vast void, they could at least survive. Kill? At this moment, the vortex was slowly expanding. Then, a dense number of figures rushed out from it. These figures were all very burly. Each of them was covered in pitch-black scales and had a third eye in the middle of their brows. Three-eyed god race, they're all three-eyed god race. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. These figures were almost identical to the three-eyed god that Lu Ming had seen before. Some of the three-eyed god race were riding on mutant beasts, while others were flying through the air. All of them had powerful auras, but the moment they charged out, they were crushed into pieces by the auras of the great emperors. Kill them and let the army in. The demon spirit religion master shouted, and the remaining 8 emperor-level experts madly attacked Emperor Wuxia and the others. Let's get out of here. Some people were scared witless as they flew towards the sky above the cave. At this moment, 2 shadows flashed. 2 figures appeared near Lu Ming and the others, each of them exuding a shocking fluctuation. It was the aura of a great emperor. A great emperor expert had arrived. This isn't a place for you to stay. Hurry up and leave. Return to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and then leave Heavenly Emperor City. One of the elders, whose body was covered in terrifying flames, said. Then he waved his hand. Lu Ming and the rest felt a powerful force surging towards them. In the next moment, they flew out of the underground cave and appeared outside the cave. Chapter 1984, Chapter 1984, Heavenly Emperor City, Chaos. Chapter 1984, Heavenly Emperor City, Chaos. Then, could it be the other 2 great emperors from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy? Ouyang Wuxuan guessed. It's possible. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. What should we do now? Wang Ling asked. This matter is beyond our ability. Let's listen to the great emperor and return to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy first. We will take Xiangxiang and the rest and leave the Heavenly Emperor City. I feel that the Heavenly Emperor City will not be peaceful in the future, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded in agreement. Boom, boom. At this moment, below the cave, the rumbles were even more terrifying. The shocking fluctuations even caused the Heavenly Emperor City to shake. Beams of light shot out from the cave. The battle below became even more intense. Let's go. They didn't stay any longer. They rose into the air and rushed towards the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The others did the same. They turned into streaks of light and left. As they were flying towards the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, the shaking behind them became more and more intense. A terrifying light rushed out from the cave. Kill? Behind them they heard the sound of fighting. From a distance, they saw what seemed to be a burly figure riding a strange beast and rushing out of the cave. A three-eyed god rushed out and stepped into the primordial realm. They didn't dare to stop and flew at full speed. The Heavenly Emperor Mountain was quite a distance away from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. They arrived at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute after 10 minutes. Currently, no one knew how the battle at the original Heavenly Emperor Mountain had developed. Lu Ming and the rest returned to their residence after returning to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. At this moment, there were already many people gathered at the residence. Lu Xiangxiang, Xuaningxin and the others were all there. This time only the strongest cultivators entered the Lotus World. Those below the Absolute Saint Realm didn't enter. They all stayed in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy, such as Lu Xiangxiang. Master, what happened? Lu Xiangxiang asked. Everyone here could feel what was happening at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. It was because that kind of vibration was too strong. There is an invasion from a foreign race. Now is not the time to talk. Gather everyone and leave Heavenly Emperor City first. Quick. Lu Ming instructed. Some of them should still be in seclusion in some cultivation places. They immediately went their separate ways to gather the other members of the Dragon Alliance. Some people were in their cultivation places and couldn't be contacted, so they had to ask the teachers of the Sacred Institute to help them pass the message. Half an hour later, most of the people from the Dragon League had arrived. With the invasion of the foreign tribes, there will probably be a great war in Heaven Emperor City. We have to leave Heaven Emperor City. Anyone who wants to go to Ancient Moon Sanctuary with me can go together. If you are not willing, you can leave together and return to your respective forces. Lu Ming said. I'd better return to the sect. Me too, let's return to the family first. Many people said. Lu Ming nodded his head. These geniuses all had their own forces. In the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, they were members of the Dragon Alliance. However, after leaving the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, they naturally had to return to their respective sections. Naturally, Lu Ming would not force them. In the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute, they belonged to the Dragon Alliance. They might be of use in the future. Then let's go, Lu Ming said. Immediately, they flew out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Kill them all. As soon as they arrived outside the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute, they heard a tide-like battle cry. A group of three-eyed gods were riding mutant beasts and fighting against a group of humans. The battle was extremely brutal. Then they looked into the distance and found that all the places in the Heavenly Emperor City were in the middle of a war. Boom, boom, boom. In the depths of the Heavenly Emperor City, in the direction of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, the void space trembled. Another group of three-eyed gods rode on strange beasts and charged over. The strange beasts stepped in the air, and the sky shook violently. The three-eyed god race had already charged out. The leader of the three-eyed god race was riding on a huge, ferocious beast. He was wearing heavy armor and holding a battle axe. His three eyes were as sharp as swords as he swept his gaze over Lu Ming and the others. Charge. Kill them. Boom, boom, boom. This group of three-eyed gods was riding on their beasts and charging toward them. The strongest one is an emperor to be. Let's charge. Lu Ming shouted and took the lead in charging forward. Die, die. The three-eyed god in the lead swung his battle axe down at Lu Ming. At the same time, a destructive light burst forth from his third eye. Prison suppression. Lu Ming waved his hand and the 9 shadows of the prison-suppressing steels appeared, pressing forward. The prison-guarding steel, it's the prison-guarding steel. The leader of the three-eyed god race roared in fear. Boom. And NBSP, the prison-suppressing steel's attack and defense were both completely vanquished, and the other three-eyed god race members were also killed. At the same time, Huangling, Longchen and the others also attacked and killed a group of three-eyed gods. They broke out of the encirclement and rushed out of the Heavenly Emperor City. Someone has the power of the prison-guarding steel. We can't let him go. We must kill him. Roars could be heard from the distance as groups of three-eyed god race experts charged toward them on their beasts. Lu Ming and the group increased their speed and rushed outside. It has the power of the prison-suppressing steel. Kill. A loud roar came from the sky. A huge battle axe was swung down at Lu Ming. The vast emperor's throne was terrifying. A martial supreme. An emperor-level expert had made a move on Lu Ming, wanting to kill him. However, at this moment, a huge metal rod swept out and collided with the battle axe. A terrifying boom erupted. The terrifying sound waves shook Lu Ming and the others, causing their eardrums to hurt. A burly figure with an iron rod in his hand appeared above Lu Ming and the rest. Its teacher. Lu Ming and the rest were overjoyed. This was a teacher of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Run. Well, stop there, Marshal Supreme. The voice of a teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy rang out. After that, a few more figures appeared, exuding a vast aura. They were all teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, and they were all Marshal Supreme Realm experts. Let's go. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to everyone and they continued to rush out. Stay. Kill him. A few more powerful three-eyed gods roared and charged toward Lu Ming and the others. They were all martial supreme powerhouses. You're a great emperor, yet you're going against a few juniors. You evil race beings are really shameless. We are your opponents. The teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy also made their moves, blocking the other party's emperor-level experts. As for Lu Ming and the rest, they were constantly charging outwards. And NBSP several groups of three-eyed god race cavalry charged at them, but they were all defeated. The Heavenly Emperor City had already been completely engulfed in the flames of war. Countless three-eyed gods had rushed out from the vortex, and the sounds of killing could be heard everywhere. When Lu Ming and the group passed by the Hung family's territory, they discovered that the Hung family was also in a war. In the sky above the Hung family, there were even true emperors fighting. The scene was shocking. At this moment, Lu Ming had already kept his third bloodline. Also, he had learned his lesson and did not dare to use the power of the prison-suppressing steel so easily in case he was targeted. Chapter 1985, Chapter 1985. Chapter 1985, Returning to the Dayan Elixir Palace. Chapter 1985. Chapter 1985 Returning to the Dayan Elixir Palace. Chaos. Complete chaos. The Heavenly Emperor City was in chaos. Without any Emperor-ranked powerhouses, their speed was extremely fast. Not long after, they finally arrived at the edge of Heavenly Emperor City. They rushed out of RHE city walls and rushed towards a satellite city in the distance. Not long after, they successfully arrived at a satellite city. Boom. Boom. Even though they were far away, they could still hear the violent rumbles coming from the Heavenly Emperor City. From the Heavenly Emperor City, there were figures rushing out in all directions. Lu Ming and the rest did not stop and went to the teleportation array. However, most of them did not follow Lu Ming and the rest. Instead, they returned to their respective sections. Lu Ming, one need to return to the Xinyuan Empire first. The invasion of the foreign tribes is no small matter. The Xinyuan Empire must make early preparations. 11 he said. Ouyang Wushuang told Lu Ming. Alright, let us go our separate ways. We'll meet again if we have the chance, but you must stay alive. Lu Ming's eyes were bright as he looked at the crowd. Definitely. 1. Everyone must stay alive. Take care, Alliance Master. Everyone bade farewell to Lu Ming and stepped into the teleportation array. In the end, only the people from the ancient Moon Holy Land, Luoxiang, Huangli, and the others were left. Let's go. They also stepped into the teleportation array and teleported to the teleportation area outside ancient Moon Holy Land, then flew towards ancient Moon Holy Land. After flying to ancient Moon Sanctuary, Feng Ling, Long Chen, Luo Qiani, Yidong Feng and the others all left and returned to their respective sections. Right now, the various factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land had probably not received the news. They had to return as soon as possible to report and make early preparations. Finally, Lu Ming brought Xiangxiang Bella, Xuaningxin, the 9 elites of the Desolate Race, and Luoxiang back to the Great Yen Elixir Hall. After returning to the Great Yen Elixir Palace and settling everyone down, Lu Ming looked for Uncle Kong and told him about the three-eyed god race's invasion in the Heavenly Emperor City. The evil god tribe has invaded earlier than expected. Uncle Kong sighed with a serious expression. The evil god clan? Uncle Kong, what are these three-eyed monsters? Lu Ming asked. Uncle Kong's cultivation level was unfathomable and he had lived for an unknown amount of time. He might know many secrets. They come from another world and call themselves the three-eyed god race. However, that's just an exaggeration. We call them the evil god race. In the distant past, they attacked the Heaven Realm. For such a long time, most of the territories of the Heaven Realm were occupied. Now, they have always wanted to open the space barrier and invade the primordial realm. Uncle Kong said with a serious expression. He didn't seem to want to say more. Lu Ming, your mission now is to cultivate in peace and raise your cultivation. You can't interfere in such a big battle. Lu Ming nodded. Even the Heaven Realm and the Hunyuan sect could not stop them. What could he use to stop them? That's right, Uncle Kong, can you help me save a person? Lu Ming said. He then released Qiuyu from the mountain and river diagram. Until now, Qiuyu was still unconscious. Uncle Kong's cultivation was profound, and he was also the guardian of the Dayan Elixir Palace. He was proficient in alchemy, so there might be a way to save her. Uncle Kong stepped forward and waved his hand. A wave of energy enveloped Qiuyu. After a while, Uncle Kong retracted the energy and frowned. Lu Ming's heart sank and he quickly asked, Uncle Kong, how are Qiuyu's injuries? What an overbearing technique. She must have been hit by the law of deprivation. Uncle Kong said. That's right. The person who attacked has mastered the law of deprivation. Lu Ming said. No wonder. The injuries on her body have basically healed, but her soul has been seriously injured. Uncle Kong muttered. His soul is injured. Lu Ming was shocked. Injuries to the soul were the most difficult to heal. That's right. This girl's soul has been attacked by RHE law of deprivation. She's severely injured, which is why she hasn't woken up yet. If she wants to wake up, she must condense her soul. Otherwise she'll never wake up. Uncle Kong said. What? Lu Ming's heart trembled. Fei could not help but clench his fists. It was possible that she would never wake up again. At this moment, Lu Ming's killing intent towards Luo Zhangqiong was extremely strong. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Uncle Kong, is there any way to help Chiu Yu's soul condense? Uncle Kong frowned as he pondered. After a long rhyme, he said, now the only way is to put this girl into the Dayan elixir furnace and use the elixir fire to nurture her physical body. After a certain period of time, one will also need to add sacred medicine. This way, not only will it maintain the vitality of her physical body, but it will also prevent the remnants of her soul from dissipating. It can even slowly condense her soul. But this method can only treat RHE symptoms but not the root of the problem. If we want to completely wake him up, we still need other methods. Uncle Kong said. Alright, 111 do IR immediately. Lu Ming took out the Dayan elixir furnace and put Chiu Yu in it. He controlled the elixir fire in the furnace and enveloped Chiu Yu's body. Then Lu Ming added some sacred medicine. The medicinal effect of the sacred medicine seeped into Chiu Yu's body under RHE effect of the elixir fire. Uncle Kong, do you know of any other methods that can completely wake Chiu Yu up? Lu Ming continued to ask. Uncle Kong shook his head and said, I've been in seclusion for many years so I don't know much. However, you can go to Vientiane Rower and ask around. Perhaps you can find a way. This girl is in the Great Yen Pill Furnace so she will be fine for hundreds of years. Don't worry. Wanxiang Tower, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was a pity that the Heavenly Emperor City was in chaos now. There was no way to ask for the time being. Fortunately, Chiu Yu was fine for the time being. He could only slowly find a way in the future. After chatting with Uncle Kong for a while more, Lu Ming left. Then he brought Xiang and called Ouyang Moli over to introduce him to them. Senior sister. Ouyang Moli bowed to Lu Xiang. In fact, Lu Xiang was 2 years younger than Ouyang Moli. However, she put her hands behind her back and looked curious. She blinked her big eyes and sized Ouyang Moli up. She said in a mature tone, Your second junior brother? Your cultivation level isn't good enough so you have to work harder. 1. Yes, senior sister. Ouyang Moli nodded. And? Lu Xiang still had the appearance of an old woman. She nodded slightly, her eyes full of excitement. She felt that the feeling of being Archie's eldest senior sister was not bad. Lu Ming found it funny. This girl was really putting on the demeanor of a senior sister. Xiang, don't be too proud. Your second junior brother has only cultivated for 2 years and is about to break through to the Saint Realm. If you don't work hard, he might catch up to you. Lu Ming said with a serious look. Less than 2 years? So fast? Lu Xiang blinked her big eyes. This speed was even faster than her. Ouyang Moli had the reincarnation body and had even obtained the world core of the reincarnation emperor. His cultivation speed was shockingly fast, even faster than Lu Xiang. Coupled with the guidance of Uncle Kong, his foundation was extremely solid. He had already reached the peak of the half-saint realm and was about to break through to the saint realm. This kind of cultivation speed was too shocking. It made him feel ashamed as a master. However, Lu Xiang and Ouyang Moli were the true children of God, unlike Lu Ming who had cultivated himself to this level. He was naturally gifted and it was normal for him to cultivate quickly in the early stages. Towards the end it would slowly slow down. For example, Heng Xinghe had been stuck in RHE Great Circle of the Absolute Saint stage for a year or two and had not broken through to the Emperor to be realm. There are many heaven's favorites in the world, don't be too proud. Lu Ming warned seriously. Yes, master. Xiang Bella and Ouyang Moli nodded. Chapter 1986. Seeing Celestial Emperor's corporeal body again. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1986. Seeing Celestial Emperor's corporeal body again. In the following days, everyone cultivated in the Dayan Elixir Hall. Lu Ming would often go to the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect to find Long Qin and the Phoenix Spirit for information. The invasion of the foreign races shook the entire Yuan Mountain. All the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Land were alarmed and started to gather the experts scattered all over the place to wait. As time passed, news of the invasion of the foreign races kept coming. The Heavenly Emperor City had been completely occupied. The overlords of the Heavenly Emperor City, the Hung clan and the He clan, had escaped from the Heavenly Emperor City with their entire clan and disappeared without a trace. Countless martial artists had died in the battle. The Heavenly Emperor City had suffered heavy losses. After the foreign tribes occupied Heavenly Emperor City, a few days later, the foreign tribes began to send their army to all directions of Heavenly Emperor City. Wherever they passed, not even a chicken or a dog would be left. One by one, the emperor-ranked forces were attacked by the foreign races. From martial sovereigns to women and children who did not know martial arts, they were all killed. Everywhere it passed, blood flowed like a river, and hundreds of millions of corpses were buried. Everyone's expression changed. The methods of the foreign race were too ruthless. This was simply a massacre. Around the Heavenly Emperor City, all the emperor-ranked powerhouses had withdrawn and retreated to the 8 sacred lands. Among the 9 sacred grounds of the Yuan Mountain, the Heavenly Emperor City was in the center. The other sacred grounds surrounded the Heavenly Emperor City. During this period of time, many emperor-ranked forces had entered ancient Moon Holy Land. As for the outsiders, they had sent out their armies to attack in all directions. They were already approaching the other sacred lands. 2 months after the battle at Heaven Emperor City, outside the ancient Moon Holy Land, the first foreign tribe army appeared. When they attacked the ancient Moon Holy Land, they were defeated by the strong practitioners of the ancient Moon Holy Land. Facing this unprecedented pressure, all the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Land temporarily put aside their grudges and formed an alliance. The Wind Race had gathered all the forces together and built a huge base. All the forces and experts had gathered to resist the alien race. The number of clashes between Guyu Holy Land and the other races increased. It's chaos. Lu Ming stood at the peak of the Dayan elixir palace and looked into the distance as he muttered. At that moment, a ray of light flashed in the distance. The speed was so fast that Lu Ming had only just reacted when the light appeared in front of him. When Lu Ming saw the true appearance of the ray of light, he could not help but be shocked. A 1-meter-tall stone man and a stone sword. Isn't this the Celestial Emperor's sword? Also, that was the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Although it was countless times smaller than when he first saw it, Lu Ming could still recognize it at a glance. It was the Celestial Thearch's physical body. In the last battle, the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body wielded the stone sword and killed 2 great emperor powerhouses in a row with unparalleled divine power. After that, Lu Ming and the rest returned to ancient Moon Sanctuary. There was no more Celestial Emperor's body or news of the great emperors. At this moment, the Celestial Thearch's physical body and the Celestial Thearch's sword had arrived. From the looks of it, they were coming for Lu Ming. Bus. The Celestial Thearch's physical body and the Celestial Thearch's sword moved and flew directly into Lu Ming's glabella, suspended in his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. At that moment, a white light flashed in front of Lu Ming and a figure floated out. It was the Celestial the Arch. Senior Celestial the Arch, Lu Ming from the junior generation. Lu Ming was shocked and quickly bowed. No need to be so polite, just a wisp of mark. The Celestial Thearch's figure smiled. Senior Heavenly Emperor, why are you here? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. Back then, wasn't the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body controlled by the Star River? Why was it flying into his consciousness with the Celestial Emperor's sword? Hung Xinghe is too selfish. He only cares about himself and not others, so he has no right to control Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. You, on the other hand, have a good character, are decisive, and are extremely talented. Most importantly, you have something you want to protect. Moreover, you were able to pull out the combat sword that one left behind years ago. This is enough to prove that you are qualified to control the item that one left behind. The Heavenly Emperor's figure nodded. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. He was not as good as what the Celestial the Arch had said. He was just not that selfish. Senior Heavenly Emperor, is the Hung family really your descendants? Lu Ming asked. The Celestial the Arch pondered for a moment as if reminiscing about the past. I'm not a human. One attained Tao as a stone golem. When I first attained Tao, one gave birth to a descendant with a human woman. That descendant was the Hung family. Speaking of which, the Hung family is indeed my descendant. However, countless years have passed, and these juniors seem to be becoming more and more useless. If you have a grudge against the Hung family, you don't have to worry about me. Senior Heavenly Emperor, it's actually Rockmen achieving Tao. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. No wonder the celestial thearch's physical body was a stone golem, and his sword was also made of stone. Senior, you have such a strong cultivation, how did you? Lu Ming was very curious. He wanted to know what the celestial thearch had experienced back then. With the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor's cultivation base, how had he fallen? You want to ask me why one died, right? Speaking of which, one didn't die. The celestial thearch's figure smiled. He didn't die? Lu Ming was overjoyed, but he was immediately filled with doubts. The celestial thearch had not fallen. How could he have left behind a physical body and a trace of his mark? I have to start from the evil god tribe, the figure of the Heavenly Emperor said. Immediately, the figure of the Heavenly Emperor began to tell Lu Ming in detail. In ancient times, the foreign races invaded the heaven realm and fought with the powerful beings of the heaven realm. At that time, heaven and earth had been pierced through, connecting to the primordial realm. There were many heaven realm ruins that fell into the primordial realm, and some strong practitioners from the heaven realm entered the primordial realm. Of course, there were also some strong practitioners from other races who had entered the primordial realm. However, only a small number of foreign powerhouses entered the primordial realm. Later on, these alien experts hid in the primordial realm. There were even strange and terrifying races that possessed human bodies and established their own forces. Forces like the demon spirit religion and evil spirit religion specialized in hunting down human elites and powerhouses. Lu Ming finally knew the origin of the evil spirit cult. It was created by an alien race. No wonder many of the evil spirit cultivators were afraid of his prison-suppressing steel, just like the three-eyed god. A long time ago, the alien races found a weak point in space and wanted to open a passage to let the evil god race in. However, they were discovered by the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor. In order to stop these alien races, a war broke out between the two sides. However, there was a terrifying expert among the foreign races who was good at attacking the soul. He was also a heavenly emperor, and he even tore the soul of the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor apart. Although the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor had managed to kill his opponent in the end, his soul was on the verge of collapse. In the end, the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor used his remaining power to seal the 8 emperors into a small world. He used the power of the small world and his own physical strength to suppress the passage. Lu Ming finally understood the origin of the Lotus World. However, although my soul was scattered back then and only a wisp of my soul remained, when I was about to die, one had a great enlightenment and broke through to another level. Instead, one formed a new physical body and came back to life. So, I can be considered someone who has died once. Finally, the Heavenly Emperor's figure said. Chapter 1987, The Secret of the Heaven Realm. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1987, The Secret of the Heaven Realm. He's reformed his body and revived. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. One could imagine the unparalleled charm of the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor back then. He blocked many foreign overlords by himself and killed the Heavenly Emperor. He also used the power of his small world to suppress the space passage and stop the invaders. The last remaining soul was resurrected and rose to a higher level. If this was written into a book, it would be a legend. However, Lu Ming had his doubts. Since the celestial thearch was not dead, where was he now? Why did he only leave behind a trace of his mark and not appear in the previous battle? The figure of the celestial thearch seemed to have noticed Lu Ming's confusion and explained, "The primordial realm hasn't reached the time for a real war yet. The war in the heaven realm has already reached a critical juncture. There are 9 heaven domains in the heaven realm, but the other 8 heaven domains don't have a passage to the primordial realm. Only the last heaven domain, the Taiching heaven domain, has a passage to the primordial realm. Now, the remaining strong cultivators of the heaven realm are guarding the Taiching heaven region. The evil god tribe has always wanted to occupy the Taiching heaven region and then invade the primordial realm using the passageway there. I'm now fighting in the heaven realm." Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. He had learned many secrets today. "My body is made of stone. It's like a puppet now. I'll give it to you. I hope it can help you." The Heavenly Emperor's figure continued. "Many thanks, Senior." Lu Ming was overjoyed. The celestial thearch's corporeal body had endless power. He had seen it before. Could even kill great sovereigns. If he could control it, he would immediately become an unparalleled expert. He could destroy the Golden Crow race and the Yuan family. Don't get too excited just yet. If you want to control this stone body, you'll need energy. I've used up all of that energy in the battle with the outsiders, and now the mark is about to disappear. Therefore, in order to control this stone body, I have to let the stone body absorb energy continuously. The more energy it absorbs, the more powerful it will be. This stone body is like a puppet. Without a trace of energy, it can't be controlled and can't exert much power. The celestial thearch's words were like a bucket of cold water poured on Lu Ming's head. It seemed that he had been happy for nothing. However, Lu Ming was immediately excited. This was the celestial thearch's body. If it absorbed enough energy, it would be able to unleash terrifying power. 111 Now teach you how to control this stone body and how to absorb energy. The celestial thearch walked past and pointed a finger between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Some information immediately appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Alright, this mark of mine has completed its mission. It's time to dissipate. Little guy, one look forward to the day you grow up. The celestial emperor's corporeal body smiled. Senior, Lu Ming felt a little sad. No need to feel sad for me. I'm not dead. Everything that happened here can be sensed by my main body in the heavenly realm. One hope we can meet in the heavenly realm and fight side by side. The celestial emperor's mark smiled and then disappeared like a wisp of green smoke. Senior, I believe that it won't be long before we meet again. There was a look of determination in Lu Ming's eyes. He then sat cross-legged and carefully studied the method of controlling the stone body and the method of absorbing energy that the celestial thearch had taught him. 2 hours later, Lu Ming had fully comprehended it. He circulated his cultivation technique and sensed carefully. He discovered that whether it was Celestial Emperor's corporeal body or Celestial Emperor's sword, they were like the bottom of a dried lake. There was no energy at all and he could not control them. Let's try to absorb the rough stone. Lu Ming waved his hand and took out 100,000 superior-grade raw stones. He activated them according to the method taught by the Celestial thearch. Bus. The Celestial Emperor's sword flew to the back of the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and the two fused together as if they were one. Bang, bang, bang. 100,000 raw gemstones exploded instantly, turning into rolling energy that was absorbed by Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and Celestial Emperor's sword. A moment later, the energy of the 100,000 raw gemstones was completely absorbed. Lu Ming quickly sensed it and his face immediately turned bitter. He realized that not even 1% of the energy in the 100,000 raw gemstones had been filled. Not even 1,000th of its energy was fully replenished. How much energy would he need to replenish it? Lu Ming was speechless. In the end, he gritted his teeth and took out 1,000,000 high-grade raw gemstones. He let his heaven, earth, and physical body absorb them. What made Lu Ming cry in grief was that the energy of 1,000,000 high-grade raw gemstones was still not even 1% of the energy. I'd better absorb the energy slowly. I can't eat hot tofu if I'm impatient. Lu Ming sighed. He kept the celestial thearch's body into the mountain and river diagram, allowing it to absorb the energy between heaven and earth on its own. Right now, Lu Ming felt that he was especially in need of resources. You needed to refine Saint herbs frequently, while Celestial Emperor's body needed a huge amount of energy. Fortunately, the celestial thearch's corporeal body could absorb any kind of energy, not just from raw gemstones. Lu Ming closed his eyes and cultivated quietly. Lu Ming felt a sense of urgency after hearing the celestial thearch's words. The heaven realm seemed to be completely outmatched and could only defend the last heaven domain, Taiching Heaven, to stop the alien races. If the alien races broke into the Taiching Heavenly region, they could use the Void Passage and a large army to rush into the primordial realm. The passageway in the Heavenly Emperor City was only a small one. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. These days, more and more alien races came to attack ancient Moon Holy Land. The pressure on Guyu Holy Land's forces was getting bigger and bigger. Finally, in order to boost morale, many sects joined forces, gathered resources, and created a merit point. As long as they killed the alien races, they would be able to get merit points. Killing a martial royal realm alien would earn him 1 merit point, a lower tier Bright Saint alien would earn him 5 merit points, and a higher tier Bright Saint alien would earn him 10 merit points. And so on, as one's cultivation level increased, the merit points would double. These merit points could be used to exchange for various treasures, such as Saint herbs, Saint weapons, Monarch weapons, Ori rocks, and so on. This way the killing intent of the ancient Moon Holy Land rose. All the powerful forces, as well as the Emperor-level forces from the outside world, all went out to hunt the alien races. Lu Ming decided to bring everyone out to hunt the alien races. Firstly, they could train themselves in a life-and-death battle, stimulate their potential, and improve their cultivation. Secondly, it could be exchanged for resources, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Palace Master, you guys can go. Take this jade talisman. If you encounter a martial emperor, you can crush it and the jade talisman will bring you back to the Dayan elixir palace. Uncle Kong handed Lu Ming a jade talisman. Lu Ming accepted it happily. In this way he would have fewer concerns. If he encountered the other party's emperor-level experts, he could escape. Following that, Lu Ming brought along Huang Li and the other 9 elites of the desolate race, as well as Luo Xiang and Lu Xiangxiang. As Ouyang Moli's cultivation level was still low, he was not invited. They flew towards the west of the ancient moon sanctuary and met up with Feng Ling, Long Qin, Luo Tianyi, and the others at the foot of a mountain. Lu Ming, this is the base that the ancient moon Holy Land's many forces built together. Huang Ling smiled and led Lu Ming and the rest towards the mountain. Chapter 1988. Chapter 1988 Hunting Foreign Races. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1988. Chapter 1988 Hunting Foreign Races. The mountain was extremely vast, and there were many grand palaces built on it. This mountain didn't exist here before. It had been forcefully pulled up from the ground by the almighties of various forces some time ago. It was 100,000 feet tall and 10,000 miles wide. Each force had a huge palace built on it, and each force had sent a large number of experts to live there. This way, the forces of the various forces could quickly gather and effectively deal with the attacks of the foreign tribes. They could also effectively counterattack. After all, ancient Moon Holy Land was huge, with at least 20 strong forces scattered all over the place. It would be too difficult to gather the forces of all the major forces at the last minute. It would take time. In that case, the foreign races would probably break through one by one. With a common base, many forces and experts would gather, and it would be more effective to dispatch them. Huang Ling and the rest brought Lu Ming and the rest around. Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and others all cultivated in huge palaces here. At the peak of the mountain, there was a huge and magnificent palace. It was the place where merit points were exchanged for resources. It was built by many forces. Right now, the strongest force in Guyu Holy Land is the Wind Clan of the Gu family. It is currently being led by the Wind Clan with the other forces assisting. Huang Ling explained. Lu Ming nodded. Let's go and hunt the alien races. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Then, everyone flew out of the ancient Moon Holy Land. Soon they flew out of the outer area of the ancient Moon Holy Land and into the wilderness. Buzz, buzz. In the sky above them, a figure flashed by at an astonishing speed. That was an Emperor-level expert. The other races' Emperor-level experts would naturally be dealt with by the ancient Moon Holy Land's Emperor-level experts. The ones they hunted were those below Emperor level. Boom, boom, boom. After flying for some distance, they heard a violent explosion ahead. Kill, kill. Intense battle cries came like a tide. In front of them, large groups of alien races rode on alien beasts and stepped on the void, fighting with human martial artists. It was extremely tragic. At a glance, one could see countless figures. In the sky, a terrifying light burst forth, and a terrifying pressure spread down like a mountain. High up in the sky was the battlefield of great emperors. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as Lu Ming and his group arrived, the alien races had their eyes on them. The main reason was that Lu Ming and his group were too young and eye-catching. The leader of the cavalry was an emperor-to-be. Leave the emperor-to-be to me. You guys be careful. Lu Ming instructed. He flew forward and a long spear appeared in his hands. This long spear was obtained from Luo Pokong. It was a monarch weapon. Whoosh. The long spear pierced through the air and instantly crossed the void. It broke through the destructive light shot out from the opponent's third eye and pierced through the opponent's head. An emperor-to-be was killed in an instant. Given Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could kill an ordinary emperor-to-be in seconds. Meanwhile, Huang Ling, Long Qin, and Xiangxiang Bella were also fighting with the others. Lu Ming waved his hand and the spear trembled. The third eye flew out and was kept in Lu Ming's storage ring. The third eye of the alien race was a wonderful material for blacksmithing, and the proof of merit points exchange was the third eye of the alien race. As soon as the emperor-to-be leading them died, this group of alien races was no match for Lu Ming and the others. They were all killed in an instant. Kill them. In the distance, there were even more alien races charging toward Lu Ming and the others. Their iron hooves stomped in the air with shocking power. There were at least a few hundred alien races and 7 or 8 of them were at the emperor-to-be realm. So many experts charged at Lu Ming and the others. Before they could reach them, beams of destructive light were already shooting toward them. The destructive light was not only aimed at Lu Ming, but also at Desolate Power, Xiang Bella, and the rest. Spatial barrier, chirp chirp. Bubbles stepped in the air and pressed down with her tiny hands. The air around them rippled like water, forming barriers. When the destructive light hit the spatial barrier, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. No one knew where it went. Kill? Lu Ming took the lead and rushed forward. He shook his emperor-level long spear and spear light enveloped 5 or 6 emperor-to-be cultivators. The weapons used by the three-eyed god race were similar to the desolate race. They were all heavy weapons, either a battle axe or a sledgehammer. When they were swung, they struck at Lu Ming, blocking Lu Ming's spear radiance. However, the next moment, transparent bubbles suddenly appeared on their bodies and enveloped them. Then Lu Ming thrust his long spear and killed the emperor-to-be one by one. When Lu Ming and Bubbles joined forces, an ordinary emperor-to-be would only be courting death. In the blink of an eye, for emperor-to-be had been killed by 2 people. You're looking for death. A burly emperor-to-be broke free from the bubble. A beam of light shot out from his third eye and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear shook and swept toward the beam of light. Boom. The long spear vibrated and Lu Ming could not help but feel his arm go numb. Kill? The emperor-to-be charged at Lu Ming with a battle axe in his hand. You're quite strong. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This three-eyed god was much stronger than the other emperor-to-be and was on par with the human emperor-to-be with a superior grade heaven spiritual body. Leave the emperor-to-be to me and Bubble. You guys deal with the others. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Lu Xiangxiang and the rest. Then, she wielded her spear and fought with the strongest emperor-to-be while Bubbles attacked the other emperors-to-be. Lu Xiangxiang, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others attacked those below emperor-to-be. Many people had gained something from their trip to the Lotus World. Long Chen and Huang Ling's cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the Absolute Saint Realm. Huang Li had also reached the pinnacle of the Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Qianni had even broken through to the perfected Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Xiang's cultivation was the same as Lu Ming's. They were at the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. With their strength, they could easily deal with the three-eyed gods who weren't emperor-to-be, and a large number of them were instantly killed. Lu Xiangxiang was surrounded by a green mist, and with a shout, a giant ancient tree was formed. It was like an ancient tree that supported the sky and pressed down on an absolute saint lower-tier three-eyed god. Boom. The three-eyed god was killed by the ancient greenwood tree, not even leaving behind a corpse. Xiang Bella's current cultivation was only at the peak of the Supreme Saint Realm, but she could already kill an absolute saint. The combat strength of the Son of Heaven was indeed shocking. At this moment, Lu Ming had already exchanged a few moves with the emperor-to-be. I can't unleash much of its power with just the Monarch weapon. They'll use the 10,000 soldier scroll to melt the Monarch weapon into my meridians. Lu Ming changed his mind. He put away his sovereign weapon and switched to the finger of calamity of chaos. Whoosh. He pointed his finger at his opponent's battle axe, causing his opponent's body to shake violently. He couldn't help but retreat, and the battle axe in his hand was sent flying. Following that, Lu Ming pointed with his finger. The force of this finger was highly condensed, forming a tiny finger force that shot toward the other party. The other party seemed to sense danger. A layer of black light covered his body and he threw his fists at Lu Ming. However, the finger force pierced through the fist and went through the head of the man. Chapter 1989. Feng Wuchen's difficulties. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1989. Feng Wuchen's difficulties. After killing the other party, Lu Ming rushed over and took away the other party's third eye. He then helped Bubbles kill the other emperor-to-be. As a result, those below the emperor-to-be realm were no match for them and were killed in large numbers. And NBSP, it didn't take long for the three-eyed god race to be completely wiped out. After that, they charged in other directions. This battlefield was extremely vast, and the sky was filled with the figures of cultivators and three-eyed gods. Lu Ming and the others gathered together and charged into the battlefield like a sharp knife, hunting down the three-eyed god race. With Lu Ming and Bubbles' combat strength, they were almost invincible against anyone below the martial supreme realm when they joined forces. They fought and killed the three-eyed god race members one after another. And NBSP, after fighting for several hours, the intense beating of war drums could be heard from the distant sky, and the three-eyed god race retreated. As for the Guyu Holy Land experts, they also retreated back to the city. Lu Ming and the rest did not go to the base to exchange their merit points immediately. They did not have enough gains. They wanted to wait until they had accumulated more before exchanging all of them. And NBSP, as expected, on the second day, the three-eyed god race's army attacked again, and the ancient moon sacred lands experts also charged out. In the vast and empty Berserk Mountain, the battle continued. This was a war between two different races. No one would show mercy. On the ground there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. There were humans, monsters, and even three-eyed gods. After a while, the three-eyed god race seemed to feel that they couldn't win and retreated. However, they would come again the next day. After fighting for more than 10 days, Lu Ming and the rest gained a lot. When the three-eyed gods retreated again, Lu Ming and the rest returned to the base and went to the highest point to exchange for some treasures. Lu Ming mainly wanted to exchange for sacred medicine and raw gemstones. All of you bring out the third eye of the three-eyed god race. A group of old men stood on a huge counter. These people were all powerhouses from the major forces. Those resources were provided by the major forces. Each force would naturally send an expert to supervise. Lu Ming and the rest took out their storage rings. Then a huge pile of the three-eyed god race's third eye appeared. It was piled up like a mountain, like a small hill, which stunned many people. The three-eyed god race's third eye was like a gem, sparkling and dazzling. It was extremely beautiful and contained a mysterious power. It could be used to forge weapons, and it was a pretty good material. There are so many of them. Many of them are at the absolute saint realm and even emperor-to-be realm. Terrifying. Lu Ming, the son of chaos. The combat strength of these people is too terrifying. Indeed, I've seen them fight. An emperor-to-be was almost killed in seconds. No one can do it except for a martial emperor. And NBSP, many people in the surroundings turned to look at the three-eyed god's eyes with fervent gazes. One of them, a white-haired old man, did a quick count. These eyeballs of the three-eyed god race could be exchanged for a total of 1,000,000 merit points. How shocking was this? What treasures do you want to exchange for? The white-haired old man asked. Wait a moment. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Then a few figures walked out of the hall. The one in the lead was a young man with an elegant demeanor. Feng Wuchen. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Feng Wuchen swept a cold glance at Lu Ming and the others. His eyes landed on the pile of three-eyed god's eyeballs, and a hint of greed appeared on his face. You guys want to exchange for treasures? Feng Wuchen said. Not bad. Lu Ming answered. I'm afraid that's not possible. You've come too late. During this period, a large number of treasures have been exchanged, and the number of treasures in the treasury has decreased sharply. I can't exchange them for you for the time being. Feng Wuchen said with a cold smile. You don't have enough treasures? Lu Ming's eyes flashed. What a joke. We didn't have enough treasures the moment we arrived. How can the others have enough? Huang Ling sneered. The others have less, but you have more, so it's naturally not enough. If you're willing to give a discount, that's fine too. Feng Wuchen sneered. If you say it's not enough, then it's not enough. You're not in charge of this place, and the other seniors have never said it's not enough. Lu Xiangxiang called out, looking at Feng Wuchen unhappily. Although I've exchanged for many treasures during this period of time, I should have enough left. An expert from the Phoenix Palace said. That's not right. If the rest of the items are exchanged by them, it would be disappointing and demoralizing if the others didn't come. An elder from the Wind Race spoke. The man from the Phoenix Palace's face darkened, and he didn't say anything. This time, Guyu Holy Land was led by the Wind Race, and the Wind Race's strength was undoubtedly the strongest. During this time, the various forces will continue to replenish their treasures. You can come back when you're done. Feng Wuchen smiled faintly. How long will it take to replenish it? Wang Ling asked. A few months, I guess. Feng Wuchen said. Then welcome next time. Lu Ming said. He could not be bothered to waste his breath on the other party. With a wave of his hand, he kept the three-eyed god's eyeball. The eyeballs of the three-eyed god race, why don't you leave them here first? Well recorded on our account, and we won't give you any less. Feng Wuchen said. No need, I don't trust a despicable person like you. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he turned around and left. The others sneered and turned to leave. Detestable. Feng Wuchen's face darkened. He rolled his eyes as if he was thinking of a scheme. In my opinion, that Feng is targeting us on purpose and not letting us exchange for it. I really want to beat him up. Desolately said unhappily. There are many forces present. They can't deny it. At most, we'll exchange for it later. Lu Ming said. Those resources and treasures were all gathered by the major forces. They didn't belong to the Wind Race alone. They couldn't deny it. You would just go there after a while. In the next few days, they continued to battle against the three-eyed god race to temper themselves. Ever since Xiang Bella started cultivating, she had rarely fought with enemies. This was a very good training for her. During this period of time, Xiang Bella's combat experience had increased rapidly. Even her cultivation showed signs of loosening up and was approaching the great saint perfection. This made others sigh. The cultivation speed of the Child of Heaven was truly shocking. On this day they set off again and set foot on the battlefield. "Lu Ming, I want to be separated from all of you and train on my own," he said. Wang Ling said, "I have the same intention." Long Chen also said. Then Luo Qianni and Desolate Power expressed the same intention. Although it was safer for everyone to gather together, it was not very effective in training, and there was no sense of life and death crisis. Only by facing a crisis alone could he stimulate his potential and reach a higher level. If you want to cultivate the light of law, you must temper yourself in the midst of life and death. Otherwise it will be very difficult to cultivate it, Luo Qianni said. The other people's eyes also revealed a burning light. They were all proud children of heaven. They all had ambitions and wanted to become stronger. Only by cultivating the light of law could one suppress other king physiques. They all had this ambition. Chapter 1990. Chapter 1990 Individual Training. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1990. Chapter 1990 Individual Training. Alright, but it's best if there are 2 or more of them. At least they can take care of each other, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded their heads. Following that, Luo Qianni and Huang Li led the other elites of the desolate race and charged into the distance. Long Qin, Huang Ling and Luo Xiang formed a group and ran into the distance. Bubble, you'll support from the middle. If any side encounters any danger that they can't handle, rescue them in time, Lu Ming said to Pao Pao. Alright brother Lu Ming, chirp chirp. Bubbles nodded, and her petite figure disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming, on the other hand, led Lu Xiangxiang in a direction. Bang. Not long after, an emperor-to-be three-eyed god was punched to death by Lu Ming. He kept the god's third eye and a black bangle. This bracelet was used by the three-eyed god race to store items, and its function was similar to storage rings. Xiangxiang, I'll leave these 2 to you. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he left the 2 lower-tier absolute saints to Xiang Bella. He would deal with the rest. The battlefield was the best place to temper himself. He was thinking that when Ouyang Ma's cultivation was higher, he would also bring him out to temper himself. Xiang Bella fought 2 three-eyed god race absolute saints at the lower-tier absolute saint realm alone, and the battle was extremely intense. Not long after, Xiang Bella successfully killed the 2 three-eyed god race members. Lu Ming nodded his head in satisfaction. Then he gave Xiang Bella a three-eyed god who was a late-stage absolute saint. The three-eyed god instantly gave Xiang a fatal pressure. Xiang Bella's shoulder was hit by the other party's destructive light, and a hole appeared. However, Lu Ming had no intention of helping. He had experienced too many life-and-death battles in his life. He knew very well that if he didn't experience any life-and-death battles, he would just be a flower in a greenhouse. It was useless no matter how strong his talent was. Master. Xiang Bella called out delicately, her small face pale. Solve it yourself. As the child of life, do you have to always rely on others? Lu Ming said with a cold expression. He killed an absolute saint in the great circle with 1 punch. Xiang Bella gritted her teeth. Her entire body was covered in green light as she circulated her life laws. Her injuries from before were instantly healed. The body of life and the law of life contained endless vitality. It was many times stronger than Huang Ling's law of imperishable flame and had vigorous vitality. At the same time, countless vines appeared like long whips sweeping towards the other party. But without a doubt, Xiang Bella was at a disadvantage. She was talented, but she didn't have much combat experience, so she couldn't use all her power. However, during the battle, Xiang Bella seemed to have found the feeling and was already able to slowly protect herself. And? Lu Ming nodded. He then hunted alone in the surrounding area. Xiang Bella had been fighting with the other party for a few hundred moves and had been injured many times. Under the life law, she had recovered very quickly. What monster! The more the three-eyed god fought, the more frightened he became. The other party was completely unkillable, and his own injuries were getting worse and worse. After a few hundred moves, Xiang Bella finally exhausted her opponent to death and then killed her. Xiang Bella was also heavily injured. However, under the life laws she was rapidly recovering. Master, I've succeeded. Xiang Bella came to Lu Ming's side. Her eyes were much more determined and sharp than before. Not bad, continue, let's go, Lu Ming said. Then he gave Xiangxiang Bela another three-eyed god who was an absolute saint in the late stages. Xiangxiang Bela's talent was indeed unparalleled. In a life-and-death battle, she had improved at an astonishing speed. Her display of combat power, her use of the power law, her battle consciousness, and her battle mentality had all undergone a huge change. This time, within 100 moves, Xiangxiang Bela finished off her opponent. Although she was also severely injured, with her constitution she was not afraid of being injured. Lu Ming nodded and brought Xiangxiang Bela to continue hunting the three-eyed god race. As for Huang Ling, Long Chen and Desolate Li, they were all going through a tough battle. Their opponents were naturally Emperor-to-be level. Huang Ling, Long Chen and Huang Li were all at the peak of the absolute saint realm. They had the power to fight an Emperor-to-be, but it would be difficult. Luo Qianni's cultivation level was higher, so she was still in a better position, but she was also in a tough battle. Everyone was engaged in a life-or-death battle in order to break through their limits and achieve a great leap. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a destructive light shot toward Lu Ming. The destructive light cut through the void silently, but Lu Ming's hair stood on end as he felt a fatal threat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming pointed in that direction. The power of the chaotic finger of tribulation gathered in his finger and collided with the destructive light. Boom! Lu Ming felt a surge of terrifying power surging towards him. He could not help but take a few steps back and his fingers were numb. What powerful strength! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. An NBSP, a 5-meter-tall three-eyed god riding a strange beast, was approaching, his body exuding a terrifying aura. This three-eyed god wasn't a great emperor, but he was definitely powerful. Kid, I've been watching you for a few days. You've killed many of our men. Today is the day you die. Kill. The burly three-eyed god roared and swung his battle axe. The mutant beast roared and charged toward Lu Ming. Brr. The strange beast roared and spat out a jet-black ray of light from its mouth. It charged at Lu Ming. At the same time, the three-eyed god's battle axe tore through the air and slashed down at Lu Ming. The massive axe seemed to be able to split the sky apart, and its power was terrifying. Holy weapons floated around Lu Ming. There were only 37 of them. Back in the world of the Lotus Flower, during the battle with the Emperor-to-be, most of the saint weapons he had sealed in his meridians had been destroyed. Only a dozen or so absolute saint weapons were left. During this period of time, Lu Ming had recultivated the 10,000 soldiers' art. This time he didn't seal the bright saint weapons or great saint weapons, but all of them into saint weapons. There were a total of 36 of them, and the last one was a Monarch weapon. It was the Monarch weapon he got from Luo Pokong. Although there were fewer of them than before, their power was many times stronger. Lu Ming held the long spear and the other 36 absolute saint weapons floated around him. The chi of the combat weapon was integrated and blocked the attack of the beast. At the same time, he lifted his spear and clashed with the battle axe. Clang! An NBSP, a terrifying shockwave exploded out, and the other party roared as he and the beast he was riding were forced back a dozen steps. As for Lu Ming, his body also retreated. What a powerful combat strength! It's equivalent to the king body of the Emperor-to-be realm. Lu Ming had a thought in his mind and his eyes flashed with a strong fighting spirit. His combat strength was equivalent to the Emperor-to-be king body. This was the strongest Emperor-to-be Lu Ming had ever encountered. Previously, the Emperor-to-be he had encountered could not put pressure on him. However, this one was different. It had the ability to threaten Lu Ming's life. This was also the training that Lu Ming wanted. Otherwise, Lu Ming would not be able to train in the big battle. Chapter 1991. A new direction. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1991. A new direction. Kill. Kill? Lu Ming and the three-eyed god roared as they fought. Lu Ming used the 10,000 soldier art to gather the chi of the combat weapon at the tip of the spear, making the power of the spear extremely shocking. And NBSP, the spear light howled through the air as it clashed with the three-eyed god race. The battle axe in the three-eyed god's hand came crashing down like a storm. At the same time, his third eye would shoot out a destructive light from time to time. Its power was astonishing. The strange beast would also attack Lu Ming. And NBSP, the spear trembled, and hundreds of spear lights shot toward the three-eyed god. At the same time, he pointed out a finger with his left hand. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Whoosh! A terrifying finger force condensed into a thread and pierced out. This finger wasn't aimed at the three-eyed god, but at the beast beneath it. The strange beast's combat strength was equivalent to that of an ordinary Emperor-to-be, so it couldn't resist it at all. It was pierced through between its eyebrows and died on the spot, its corpse falling to the ground. Damn it! The three-eyed god bellowed in rage, his killing intent growing even colder as he launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the spear in his right hand. Dense runes appeared on it. Soon the symbols covered the long spear. Then the long spear was thrust out, forming a true dragon that whistled out. Lu Ming was using the long spear to cast Rhe illusionary spirit scroll of the 9 scrolls of the Array Dao. However, the true dragon was dispersed by the other party's axe. This was within Lu Ming's expectations. The long spear shook and a destructive force burst out. This was the annihilation manual of Rhe 9 scrolls of Rhe Array Dao. Lu Ming was using his opponent to train his 9 scrolls of Array Dao, striving to merge the sealed scroll, the destruction scroll, and the illusionary spirit scroll together as soon as possible. To be honest, the king physique of the Emperor-to-be realm was very powerful and required Lu Ming to go all out. Lu Ming was undoubtedly at a disadvantage when he used the 9 volumes of the Array Dao alone. He was being suppressed by his opponent. However, this was exactly what Lu Ming needed. In the face of adversity, his 9 scrolls of Array Dao had progressed at a rapid pace. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of moves had been exchanged. Yes, this is the feeling. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up and he thrust his spear. A true dragon flew out and pounced at the other party. This move again break. The three-eyed god roared as he cleaved the true dragon into 2. However, the true dragon immediately exploded and turned into countless runes. They enveloped the other party's battle axe and spread along the battle axe to the other party's entire body, forming a powerful sealing force. That's right. Lu Ming had successfully combined the illusionary spirit scroll and the sealed scroll with that move. 2 of the 9 scrolls of the Array Dao were contained in one move. Damn it! The three-eyed god roared as he unleashed his full power. The black light around his body intensified, and the runes dimmed before collapsing. Again? Lu Ming thrust his spear again. Another true dragon flew out and collided with his opponent's battle axe. This time there was a shocking boom and his opponent's battle axe buzzed and vibrated. This move was a combination of the illusionary spirit scroll and the annihilation scroll. Its power was greatly increased and it successfully blocked the opponent's attack. If I combine the 3 volumes, the power will be even stronger. Lu Ming had an idea. At Rhe same time he kept stabbing with his long spear but he failed in the end. Fusing 3 volumes was much more difficult than fusing 2. If I can combine the Annihilation Manual with the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger, wouldn't the power of the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger increase exponentially? Lu Ming suddenly had an idea and his eyes lit up. The Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger was already very powerful, but with the Array Dao Law's Destruction Scroll, its power would definitely be even stronger. However, this involved the fusion of 2 types of nomological laws, which was even more profound. Lu Ming tried a few times but he did not succeed. However, this was a direction. As long as Lu Ming kept trying he would eventually succeed. Now I'll finish you off. A murderous glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He kept stabbing with his long spear, using the illusionary spirit scroll and the sealed scroll's fusion technique, and NBSP at the same time. He used the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger with his left hand to attack from both sides. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 of them exchanged dozens of moves and Lu Ming finally gained the upper hand. His opponent's body was wrapped in a layer of dense runes and his strength was affected. Lu Ming pointed his finger and the chaotic finger of tribulation pierced through the other party's body. Half of the body exploded. The other party roared, turned around and ran. Lu Ming gave chase. But the other party was indeed very strong and could stand shoulder to shoulder with Lu Ming. He risked his injuries and ran away at top speed, escaping far away. Lu Ming could only give up on the pursuit. The combat strength of an emperor-to-be king body was indeed very powerful. Lu Ming had to use his full strength and the combination of 2 types of laws to defeat the other party. However, he still could not kill him. Lu Ming turned around and brought Xiangxiang Bella with him to continue hunting the three-eyed god. On the other side, Huang Ling, Long Qin, and Luo Xiang were fighting a life-and-death battle with 2 emperor-to-be. It was very difficult for the 3 of them to fight against 2 emperor-to-be experts. It was a real life-and-death battle where their lives were in danger at any time. Huang Ling used the law of the undying fire to cast the undying cage. While she attacked, she also achieved a defensive effect. As for Long Qin, his entire body swelled up like a giant. Every attack he made was accompanied by the trumpeting of elephants and the stomping of divine statues as he attacked his opponent. As for Luo Xiang, he was wandering around with an iron sword in his hand. It looked rusty, but it was extremely sharp. His body was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and the speed of his sword was also sometimes fast and sometimes slow, making it impossible to guard against. Even so, under the terrifying attack of the other party's emperor-to-be, they were still in a dangerous situation and facing a fatal crisis. Die. An emperor-to-be suddenly pounced at Luo Xiang with all his might. The terrifying power sealed the space around Luo Xiang, making it difficult for him to move at his maximum speed. Then a violent attack was launched at Luo Xiang. Among the three of them, Luo Xiang's cultivation was the lowest. They had to kill him first before killing the others. Not good. Huang Ling and Long Chen's expressions changed. They wanted to help but were blocked by the other emperor-to-be. Die. The emperor-to-be's eyes were filled with ferocity as he charged at Luo Xiang. In the face of a life-and-death crisis, Luo Xiang was very calm. He squinted his eyes, which were shining with a terrifying sharpness. In his sea of consciousness, the sword soul was shaking, and the iron sword in his hand was buzzing. At this moment he circulated all of his power. Whoosh! A beam of sword light burst out and lit up the sky. It was extremely stunning. The three-eyed goddess attack was broken through. These kids must die. The three-eyed god roared in his heart. These young men were too strong. When they matured in the future, they would definitely be the greatest enemies of their race. He once again charged towards Luo Xiang. Buzz! The iron sword in Luo Xiang's hand trembled and emitted a dazzling light. At this moment, a powerful aura burst out from his body. He had broken through. At the critical moment, Luo Xiang broke through. His cultivation had been at the limit of the upper tier of the Absolute Saint realm, and now, facing a life-and-death crisis, he broke through and entered the peak of the Absolute Saint realm. Chapter 1992, Chapter 1992, Chapter 1992, Killing Their Way to the Wind. Chapter 1992, Chapter 1992 Killing Their Way to the Wind Clan's territory. You've broken through, good. Long Chen and Feng Ling were overjoyed. Luo Xiang's battle strength had increased greatly as he broke through the opponent's attack. He cooperated with Feng Ling and Long Chen to fight the opponent. Luo Xiang's breakthrough had increased their combat strength, and they were finally able to deal with the enemy. No one noticed that in the distance, a cold gaze would sweep across Lu Ming and the rest from time to time. This man was Feng Wuchen. These people have gathered together. Sooner or later they will be a great threat to our Wind Clan. We must get rid of them as soon as possible. Feng Wuchen's eyes flashed with a fierce light as he sent a message to his subordinates. After that, they attacked some of the three-eyed gods, and after a few moves, they suddenly changed their direction and charged toward Feng Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang. And NBSP, the three-eyed god race members, were furiously chasing after them. Soon they were approaching the battlefield of Feng Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang. Not good. The expressions of Huang Ling and the other two changed. Feng Wuchen was trying to use the three-eyed god race to kill them. You've come at the right time. These kids are the top heaven's favorites of the human race. They'll be a great threat in the future. We must get rid of them first. One of the three-eyed god race members who was fighting against Feng Wuchen and the others roared and called for the three-eyed god race members who were chasing after Feng Wuchen to come and kill them. Alright, let's kill these people first. The three-eyed god race that was chasing after Feng Wuchen's group immediately gave up on Feng Wuchen's group and charged towards Huang Ling's group. Among Feng Wuchen and the others, only Feng Wuchen was a top-notch heaven's favorite. The others were all old and had limited potential. Compared to killing Feng Wuchen and the others, the three-eyed god race would naturally be more willing to kill Huang Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang. Instantly, at least 3 to 4 emperors-to-be and more than 10 absolute saints charged toward them. The three of them changed their expressions and retreated quickly, but they were entangled by the 2 emperor-to-be. Ha ha ha. Feng Wuchen was overjoyed. The process had gone much smoother than he had expected. He brought the experts of the Wind Clan and left this place quickly. On the other side, Lu Ming also discovered this scene. Not good. Lu Ming's expression turned ugly. With a wave of his hand, a beam of saint energy swept Xiangxiang up and quickly rushed towards Huang Ling and the others. However, he was still a distance away from Huang Ling and the others. Fei would need time to get there. Facing the siege of so many emperor-to-be experts, Huang Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang were in a fatal crisis. Long Chen's body was pierced by a destructive light, and his flesh exploded. Tihe's scene was extremely terrifying. Luo Xiang didn't have it easy either. One of his arms had been chopped off. Although Huang Ling had the law of the unperishable flame, she had blocked more attacks and was severely injured. The three of them were heavily injured and were in danger. You guys quickly retreat? Long Qin roared and his long hair fluttered in the wind. He kept punching out with both fists. The figures of divine elephants appeared one after another and rushed toward the other party. Lai was fighting several emperor to be alone to seize the opportunity for Huang Ling and Luo Xiang to escape. However, he was alone and his combat power was limited. The divine elephant was destroyed and his body was hit. Half of his body directly exploded and he almost died. Die. A three-eyed emperor Tibet's eyes flashed with ferocity as he swung his axe at Long Chen's head. If this attack landed, Long Chen would definitely die. At this moment, Long Chen, Feng Ling and Luo Xiang's bodies flickered like phantoms. In the next instant, they reappeared 1,000 meters away, causing the three-eyed god race's attack to miss. A petite figure appeared beside Feng Ling and the others. It was Bubbles' timely help that saved them. Kill? The three-eyed god race members charged towards Pow Pow. You're the ones who are going to die, chirp chirp. Bubbles pressed down with her small hand, and the air rippled. The bodies of the absolute saints were instantly ground into pieces by the spatial power. Even the emperors-to-be were forced to retreat and spit our blood. Space-time law, no retreat. One of the three-eyed god race quasi-emperor's expression changed drastically as he tried to retreat. However, a few transparent bubbles appeared and enveloped them. Die. A cold voice came from the sky. Then spearlights burst down and pierced into their heads. A total of 7 emperor-to-be were killed in an instant. Lu Ming descended and waved his hand, collecting the three-eyed god's corpse. He then took a step forward and appeared beside Huang Ling and the others. You guys recuperate first. Lu Ming said. Long Chen, Luo Xiang and Feng Ling were severely injured, especially Long Chen and Luo Xiang. Their bodies were almost blown apart. With the strength of their spirit bodies, it was not difficult for them to regrow their limbs. The three of them sat cross-legged in the air and began to recuperate. Lu Ming and Bubbles stood guard in the surroundings. Any three-eyed god that tried to attack them was mercilessly killed by them. Long Chen and Luo Xiang's bodies began to heal and recover. A few hours later, the three of them had fully recovered from their external injuries. However, it would take a few days for them to return to their peak condition. Thump thump thump. At this moment, the war drums began to beat, and the three-eyed god race began to retreat. Feng wuchen. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with cold murderous intent. Lai then walked in the direction of Arya base. Luo Chanyi, Huang Ling and the rest looked at each other and followed Lu Ming. Soon they returned to the base. Lu Ming did not stop. Lai kept going up and finally came to a magnificent hall. His palace was the wind race's encampment. Lu Ming walked toward the main entrance of the hall. Stop right there. This is the territory of the wind race. Other than the members of the wind race, only those who have been invited can enter. Have you been invited? In front of the door, 2 strong men blocked Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted loudly. The 2 strong men's bodies shook violently and they were sent flying, vomiting blood. You, how dare you? One of them pointed at Lu Ming and shouted. Bang. Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. A terrifying force surged out and bombarded the door of the Wind Clan's palace. Boom. The door exploded into pieces. 2 big men guarding the door were stunned. Here was actually someone who dared to break the door of the Wind Clan's palace. This was simply a slap to the Wind Clan's face. How audacious. Commotion here had also alerted the other forces. Figures flew out from the palaces and looked over. As Lu Ming lies so bold. He actually smashed Wind Clan's gate. What happened? Why did Lu Ming do that? One heard that Lu Ming and Feng Wuchen have a grudge. His surroundings were abuzz with discussion. Who are you? You're looking for death. Angry roars came from the Wind Clan's palace. Figures rushed out one after another, looking at Lu Ming and the others with cold, knife-like eyes. Where's Feng Wuchen? Tell him to come out and face his death. Lu Ming shouted, ignoring the Wind Tribe experts. You are Lu Ming? One of the Wind Clan's experts recognized Lu Ming and his eyes narrowed slightly. Back then, the Wind Clan naturally knew about the commotion that Lu Ming had caused in the ancient Moon Holy Land. Chapter 1993, Chapter 1993. I'll kill you? Chapter 1993, I'll kill you, Feng Wuchen, come out and face your death. Lu Ming shouted again, his voice shaking the entire base. Lu Ming, how dare you break the door of the Wind Clan for no reason? Today you must give us an explanation no matter what. One of the wind race's quasi-emperors shouted coldly. Explanation? Bullshit. Get lost. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the room and told the other party to get lost, not giving him any face at all. The people from the other forces all had different expressions and were secretly shocked. The Wind clan was an ancient clan with a long history. They had a deep foundation and were extremely powerful. However, Lu Ming did not give them any face at all. He even told the Wind clan to get lost. You're too arrogant. They'll cripple you. An emperor to be roared, and his body turned into a gust of wind, rushing toward Lu Ming. With a wave of his hand, a dense wind blade flew out, extremely sharp, and attacked Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming did not even look at him. He threw a punch, causing the air to tremble. The wind blades flew backward under the force of Lu Ming's violent punch and hit the opponent's body. The wind race's emperor-to-be let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying back. He crashed into the wall of the wind race's palace and lay on the ground half dead. Everyone was shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was terrifying. He had injured an emperor-to-be with one punch without even looking at him. Where's Feng Wuchen? Has he become a tortoise? Tell him to come out. Lu Ming took a step forward. The experts of the Wind tribe could not help but take a few steps back. Lu Ming, how dare you come to my Wind clan, smash our gate and even injure our people? What do you want? A cold voice was heard. Feng Wuchen walked out of the Feng clan's palace and looked at Lu Ming with an ugly expression. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so bold as to directly attack the Wind clan's encampment. I'm here to kill you. Lu Ming continued to step forward. He was very direct and could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Feng Wuchen. Back then, in the world of the lotus flower, the reason why Qiuyu was injured was also related to Feng Wuchen. At that time, Feng Wuchen and the experts of the Feng clan had joined forces with the people of the Daluo Heaven sect to hurt Qiuyu. And now, Feng Wuchen was even more aggressive. Not only did he purposely make things difficult for them, he even lured the three-eyed god race's experts to kill them with a borrowed knife. Lu Ming's killing intent towards Feng Wuchen had already reached the extreme. He could not bear it anymore. He had to kill Feng Wuchen today. Feng Wuchen's expression changed. He couldn't help but take a few steps back behind the experts of the Wind clan and shouted, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so narrow-minded. When you wanted to exchange for resources and treasures, I said that one didn't have enough treasures and asked you to come back after a period of time. You've harbored a grudge against me and wanted to kill me. Now is the time for us to unite against the enemy, but you want to kill me and cause internal strife. One really wonder if you have already joined the alien race. Feng Wuchen directly put all the blame on Lu Ming, saying that Lu Ming was narrow-minded and even said that Lu Ming had joined the alien race. Huang Ling, Lu Xiangxiang, and the others were so angry that their faces turned green. He had seen shameless people, but he had never seen someone so shameless. You're talking nonsense. You're the one who hates my master in US. On the battlefield, you deliberately led the alien races to kill us and wanted to kill us with a borrowed knife. Now you're slandering us. Lu Xiangxiang cried out unhappily. Many people's gazes moved as they thought to themselves, so that's how it is. To be able to cultivate to this stage, they were all smart people. Previously, when Feng Wuchen randomly accused them, not many people would believe it. On the contrary, more people believed Lu Xiangxiang's words. It was no wonder that Lu Ming was so murderous that he went straight to the Wind clan's encampment. It turned out that Feng Wuchen wanted to kill with a borrowed knife and deliberately led the alien race to Lu Ming and the others. He was really despicable. Many people were thinking this, but no one stood out. The Wind race was an ancient race and was very powerful. Who would dare to offend the Wind race? There were also some people who were gloating, such as the Golden Crow race and the Yuan family. They would be happier if the conflict between Lu Ming and the Wind clan intensified and they killed each other. They hoped that the Wind clan would kill Lu Ming. Little girl, you're talking nonsense. You're full of nonsense. It was your master who told you to slander me, right? You need evidence to speak. Feng Wuchen sneered. It's clearly like that. We can all testify. Lu Xiangxiang said. You'll testify? What a joke, it's more like you guys are ganging up to slander me. Feng Wuchen sneered. You. Lu Xiangxiang's face was red with anger. Bang. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly took another step forward and said, Xiangxiang, why are you talking so much nonsense with this kind of person? Just kill him directly. Bus. Then Lu Ming's figure suddenly accelerated and he rushed toward Feng Wuchen. How audacious. Let's join forces and take him down. The many emperors-to-be of the Wind race were furious. In an instant, at least 10 of them attacked Lu Ming. Get lost, die. Lu Ming shouted. The light of chaos enveloped his body and he used the chaotic finger of tribulation, pointing 10 times in succession. Bang! Bang! With a series of collision sounds, the 10 Emperor Tibet's attacks were broken. Their bodies trembled and they retreated. There was a bloody hole in each of their bodies and blood was flowing out. Hiss. Many people gasped. The combined forces of 10 Emperor Tibet experts were no match for Lu Ming and were instantly injured by him. Such combat strength was too terrifying. Feng Wuchen, you will die today. Lu Ming took another step forward, causing Feng Wuchen's face to turn pale. He could not help but retreat. Enough. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. A figure walked out of the Wind Clan's palace, and a vast aura filled the air. Emperor Might. This was a martial sovereign. Feng Wuchen was overjoyed. Lu Ming could not do anything to him when a martial emperor attacked. Elder Lu Ming is a lawless man. Not only did he destroy the Wind Clan's main gate, but he also continuously injured our experts. Hurry up and kill this man. Feng Wuchen shouted. Lu Ming looked at the Wind Clan's martial emperor and said calmly, "You're a martial supreme. Try and attack me." The Wind Clan's martial emperor frowned when he heard this. The hearts of the people from the other powers also moved. They thought back to a few years ago to Uncle Kong. Lu Ming had an extremely powerful figure behind him. Given Lu Ming's current realm, if the other party attacked an emperor to be, Uncle Kong would probably not say anything. However, if the other party attacked a martial emperor, would Uncle Kong make a trip to the Wind Tribe? Lu Ming, don't push your luck. It's easy to break if you're too hard. They'll let today's matter rest. The Wind Race's martial sovereign said. Many people's eyes flickered. The Wind Race's martial sovereign's words were equivalent to giving in. This made Feng Wuchen's eyes flash with unwillingness. Today he had a good reason to kill Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming clearly did not appreciate it. You can let it go, but I didn't say that. Feng Wuchen deliberately led the alien race to kill us. He must die. Lu Ming's voice was cold. The murderous intent on his body grew stronger, causing the temperature at the scene to drop. Lu Ming, you're going too far. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have the backing of an old man. The Wind Race is fearless. The Wind Race's martial sovereign's face turned grave as he said coldly. Chapter 1994, Chapter 1994. Do whatever you want to do. Chapter 1994. Do whatever you want to do, Lu Ming sneered. Fearless? If he was really fearless, he wouldn't have talked so much nonsense with him. He would probably have killed him with a slap. Kill? Lu Ming let out a long hiss and launched an attack, his figure suddenly pouncing towards Feng Wuchen. Many people sighed. Lu Ming was still the same Lu Ming, the Lu Ming who stirred up a storm in the ancient Moon Holy Land. He was still so bold as to kill Feng Wuchen, the Wind Race's king body, in front of the Wind Race's martial sovereign. Impudent. The Wind Race's martial sovereign shouted and pressed down with one hand. A powerful aura was exerted on Lu Ming's body. In an instant, the air in the surroundings seemed to have frozen. Lu Ming felt as if hundreds of mountains were pressing down on him. His body came to a halt. Bubble, let's attack together. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Bubbles had been sitting on Lu Ming's shoulder. At this moment, her small face was flushed red. The light of space-time spread out and her small hand was like a knife, slashing forward. Zzz. The space fluctuated violently as if it was about to split open. A crack appeared on the force that the other party used on Lu Ming. Break! Lu Ming shouted. The light of chaos burst out and he pointed with all his might. And NBSP primal chaos energy surged, and the power of the primal chaos tribulation finger exploded into a single point, combining with the power of the bubble. Boom! The space was boiling and a crack was torn open by the power of the martial sovereign. Not good. The Wind Clan's martial sovereign's expression changed. However, in the next moment Lu Ming's figure disappeared from where he was standing. He broke through the martial emperor's power and suddenly appeared in front of Feng Wuchen. He grabbed at Feng Wuchen with his big hand. Feng Wuchen initially thought that with a martial emperor present, he would be safe. He did not expect Lu Ming to break through the barrier of a martial emperor's power and suddenly appear in front of him. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Lu Ming grabbed his neck with his large hand. A violent force surged in and sealed his cultivation. Bang! Lu Ming grabbed Feng Wuchen and smashed him onto the ground. The ground rumbled. The ground of the Feng clan's palace was made of solid black gold stone, but it was all cracked. Feng Wuchen was embedded into the black gold stone. He spat out mouthfuls of blood, his body twitched and his eyes turned white like dead fish. The people from the other forces were all dumbfounded and shocked. First, she was shocked that Lu Ming could break through the barrier of a martial supreme's power. Under the suppression of a martial emperor's power, an ordinary martial emperor would find it difficult to move at all. Secondly, she was shocked that Lu Ming really did what he said. He seriously injured Feng Wuchen in front of the Wind Clan's martial emperor in the Wind Clan's palace. It looked like he really wanted to kill Feng Wuchen. A fiend. A true fiend. Lu Xiangxiang and the others watched with their blood boiling. I advise you to let Feng Wuchen go. The Wind Race's martial sovereign's face was extremely gloomy, and a terrifying killing intent was brewing. Lu Ming had actually managed to take down Feng Wuchen despite being blocked by his power. This made him lose all face. Moreover, Feng Wuchen couldn't die. He had the unparalleled king body, and his future was unpredictable. He had the potential to become a great emperor. Although the Wind Race was an ancient race with deep foundations and astonishing strength, they didn't have a great emperor. A great emperor was too important to a force. Let him go and let him continue to take revenge on me? One won't give him a second chance. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He stepped on Feng Wuchen's face, causing his body to twitch again. If you kill him, your friends will die too. A few more voices came from the Wind Clan's palace, each of them exuding an extremely shocking aura. Martial Emperor, they were all martial emperors. One of them had a vast aura and was surrounded by the divine light of the world. He was a true emperor. It seemed like the Wind Race was no longer calm. Martial emperor powerhouses appeared one after another. The one who had just spoken was the true emperor, and he looked sharply at Lu Xiangxiang and the others. The true emperor is actually threatening me with a few juniors. What a joke. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. Let Feng Wuchen go now. Otherwise, none of you will be able to escape. I know that you have an old saying behind you, but you can scare others, but you can't scare the Wind Race. The Wind Race's true emperor said coldly. A powerful aura enveloped Lu Xiangxiang and the others. With a single thought, Lu Xiangxiang and the others would die. Master, don't worry about us. Kill that guy. Lu Xiangxiang called out. Shut up. The Wind Race's true emperor shouted coldly. He raised his hand and pressed down, causing a huge hand to grab Xiangxiang Bella. Right at this moment, the space in front of Xiangxiang Bella suddenly split open, and a walking stick flew out. With a single sweep, it destroyed the Wind Race true emperor's giant hand. Then, the walking stick expanded rapidly, turning into an ancient tree that reached the sky. It then smashed down toward the Wind true emperor. Uncle Kong. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He naturally recognized that this walking stick belonged to Uncle Kong. It's Grandpa Kong. Lu Xiangxiang cried out. The true emperor of the Wind Race's expression changed drastically as he felt a terrifying pressure from the staff. He let out a long roar, and the time of the world burst out, blasting out the power of the world. Endless gales whistled and swept towards the crutch. However, the wind dispersed as the walking stick pressed down. The huge walking stick landed on the Wind Race's true Thearch's body and sent him flying for 100 miles. His face was pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone was shocked. A true emperor was injured in one move. This was truly terrifying. It's the one from the Great Yen Elixir Palace. His strength is truly unfathomable and difficult to estimate. The experts from the other forces of ancient Moon Holy Land discussed in shock. In the Skywolf Tower, the Wan family's people had very ugly expressions. This was because two of their true emperor experts had been killed by Uncle Kong. A few years ago, I said that the elders should not interfere in the matters of the younger generation, especially now that they are just a group of Sage Realm experts. If your Void Emperor and even the true Emperor want to attack, don't blame me for bullying the young. Uncle Kong's voice resounded from the walking stick. Senior, it's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. Feng Wuchen has also suffered. Let Lu Ming let him go and well let this matter go. The Wind Clan won't ask about it anymore. What do you think? The Wind Race's true Emperor cupped his fists and said, I don't care about the matters of the younger generation. Let them decide for themselves whether to kill or not. It's best if you great emperors don't get involved. Uncle Kong's voice sounded. Senior, so you're going to interfere? It won't do you any good to start a war with my Wind Clan. The Wind Race's true emperor said coldly. I'd like to see how you're going to make it so that I won't get any benefits. Uncle Kong's voice sounded. The Wind Race's martial sovereigns all had unsightly expressions. It was obvious that Uncle Kong was going to interfere. Quickly send a message to the chief. The Wind Race's true emperor sent a voice transmission to a Void Emperor of the Wind Race. The Void Emperor nodded and secretly sent out the news. Lu Ming, just do what you want. There's no need to worry. Uncle Kong's voice rang out from within the cane. His words made the experts of the wind race change their expressions. Stop. The members of the wind race roared. No. Feng Wuchen started to struggle crazily as if he could feel death approaching. Chapter 1995, Chapter 1995, Chapter 1995, Killing Feng Wuchen. Chapter 1995, Chapter 1995, Killing Feng Wuchen. Now you're afraid. You should have thought of this when you lured the three-eyed god race to harm us. Lu Ming said coldly. He had a deep killing intent towards Feng Wuchen. The saint power gathered and formed a long spear, stabbing toward Feng Wuchen's head. The long spear pierced through Feng Wuchen's head and nailed him to the ground. Feng Wuchen struggled a few times and stopped breathing. He was dead. A peerless king physique died just like that. He was killed by Lu Ming in public in the Wind Clan's palace in front of countless experts. You're looking for death. The Wind Race's true emperor roared. The power of his world burst forth and he charged toward Lu Ming. Feng Wuchen was the hope of the Wind Clan. Now that he was dead, he must kill Lu Ming. It seems like you want to die. Uncle Kong's voice came from the walking stick. Buzz. Then the sword was unsheathed, and the sound of the sword resounded through the sky. Everyone only saw a flash of sword light. Then they saw the Wind Race's true emperor's body freeze in the air and all his aura disappeared without a trace. Then a bloody gash appeared on the true emperor's forehead, and he was cut in half. Gulu. Many people swallowed their saliva, their hearts trembling. A true emperor was killed just like that. It was the same as a few years ago. You've gone too far. At this time an angry roar came from the distance. Then a terrifying whistling sound rang out in the sky. In the distance an endless storm swept over, covering the sky and the sun, shrouding the entire ancient moon-holy land. At this moment, many people felt like it was the end of the world. It was as if the heavens and earth were about to collapse. It was a terrifying sight. The wind was like countless divine weapons. The space was cut open like tofu, revealing a ferocious spatial crack. In the endless wind, there was a tall and majestic figure, as if he was indomitable like a demon god. A terrifying pressure pressed down on everyone, making it hard for them to breathe. Chief. The chief is here, they're dead. The experts of the Wind Race were overjoyed. It's the Wind Clan's patriarch. Peak true emperor. There were also true emperor experts from the other forces. At this moment someone spoke with an extremely solemn voice. Peak true emperor. Many people gasped. The Wind Race's true emperor that had just been killed by Uncle Kong had only become a true emperor not long ago. He was a 1-star true emperor. The Wind Clan's patriarch was a 7-star true emperor. The difference in strength between the two of them was too great. It seemed that the Wind Clan was enraged, and the clan leader had personally taken action. Lu Ming, that kid is dead for sure. And that old fellow from the Great Yen Elixir Palace is also dead, haha. The Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and the other forces were overjoyed. Lu Ming, Uncle Kong, weren't you arrogant? You've kicked an iron plate now. Who else could compete with a peak true emperor other than a great emperor? They didn't believe that Uncle Kong was this strong. Today, he'll let you all be buried with wuchen. A cold and emotionless voice rang out from the endless violent wind. The violent wind swept towards Uncle Kong, Lu Ming, and the rest. Buzz. The sound of a long sword being unsheathed rang out again. A sword light burst out, splitting the entire sky in half. It was truly split into two. The entire sky was split open, revealing a terrifying dark void. The Wind Clan leader's boundless gale was like a weak candle flame. It instantly vanished without a trace. Then everyone heard a mournful scream. A figure frantically retreated. Drops of blood scattered across the sky. In the distance, a middle-aged man in green robes appeared. His face was pale and his eyes were filled with disbelief. This was the clan leader of the Wind Clan. Everyone present was shocked. The clan leader of the Feng clan was injured. This was a peak true emperor, the clan leader of an ancient clan, and an overlord of a region. Yet, such a character was injured by a single sword strike. Blood splattered across the sky. This was too terrifying. More importantly, the other party hadn't even appeared. He was only controlling a sword from a distance, but it already had such terrifying power. It made it difficult for one to calm down. Great Emperor? Could he be a great emperor expert? Someone said with great difficulty, his voice filled with shock and disbelief. controlling a long sword from a distance and making a peak true emperor spill blood in one move. Who else but a great emperor could do such a thing? Great emperor. Ancient Moon Holy Land actually had a hidden great emperor. The elder from the Great Yen Elixir Palace was actually a great emperor. Everyone's heart trembled at the thought. Although the difference between a peak true emperor and a great emperor was only one step, this step was like heaven and earth. It was difficult to cross. In particular, the Golden Crow clan, the Yuan family, the Skywolf Tower, and other forces who had a grudge against Lu Ming had extremely ugly expressions and were deeply worried. Uncle Kong is actually this strong? Even Lu Ming and the group were shocked. He'll spare you this time, considering how difficult it was for you to cultivate. If there's a next time, 111 kill you. Uncle Kong's voice came out from the walking stick again, and it was filled with killing intent. The Wind Clan's patriarch's expression was extremely unsightly. There was a hint of fear on his face. At this moment, he gritted his teeth and cupped his fists. Senior, there's something I must make clear today. Speak. Uncle Kong's voice sounded again. The Wind race can forget about the previous matter. The Wind Clan leader said. His words moved the hearts of many. It was obvious that the Wind race had given in. In other words, Feng Wuchen's death today would have been in vain. However, everyone could understand. What could they do when a great emperor stood behind Lu Ming? Are you looking for death? The other members of the Wind race all looked indignant and humiliated. However, even if they were humiliated, they could only endure it. The Wind race only has yourselves to blame for this, and you still want to pursue the matter? Continue. Uncle Kong's calm voice rang out. Senior, this time the Wind Clan can just let it go. However, if Lu Ming kills anyone from the Wind Clan on sight because he has your support or even kills his way into the Wind Clan's territory, the Wind Clan will definitely retaliate. If he had a knife and wanted to kill the Wind Race's great emperor realm expert, the Wind Race's martial emperor would not have just stood there and let him kill us. In that case, even if Lu Ming has the support of a senior, the Wind Race would not hesitate to fight. Senior, even if you can kill me, my Wind Clan will scatter and hide. You won't be able to kill all of us. My Wind Clan will madly seek revenge. Senior can't protect these juniors forever. The Wind Clan's patriarch spoke with a determined tone. If Lu Ming wantonly killed the members of the Wind Clan would not hesitate to fight. Uncle Kong could protect Lu Ming, Lu Xiangxiang and the others for a while, but could he protect them forever? Unless they did not go out. The clan leader of the Wind Clan had no other choice. He was really afraid that Lu Ming would kill the people of the Wind Clan unscrupulously because he had the support of a great emperor. If that was the case, they would rather fight to the death. Senior, the Golden Crow tribe also has the same idea. We can't be killed passively without retaliating. A true emperor from the Golden Crow race walked out and cupped his fist towards Uncle Kong's walking stick. Chapter 1996, Chapter 1996. The Ancient Capital of Mount Yuan? Chapter 1996. The Ancient Capital of Mount Yuan, the WN family also has the same intention. My Skywolf Tower. Following that, true emperors from the Yuan family, the Sirius Tower and the Purple Extreme Sect, who were equivalent to Lu Ming's enemies, stepped out and expressed their attitudes. It was impossible for them to be killed by Lu Ming passively. If that was the case, they might as well fight. I've already said it back then. It seems that you don't understand. Then today I'll say it again. Lu Ming is now in the sage state. If anyone below the rank of Martial Supreme attacks him, the old man won't care. It's your ability that you can kill him. If he corroborates his Tao and becomes an emperor, then all of you at the Void Emperor realm can make a move. If he can't beat you, then it's his own fault. Similarly, if he reaches the True Emperor realm, all of you at the True Emperor realm can take action. This old man will not interfere. Uncle Kong's voice sounded. The eyes of the Wind race, the Golden Crow race and the other forces flickered. Right now, those below the Martial Supreme realm could not make a move. Almost no one was Lu Ming's match. However, as long as Lu Ming broke through to the Void the Arch realm, all the Void Thearchs would be able to take action. The Void Emperor was divided into 1 to 7 stars, and the gap between 1 star and 7 stars was huge. As long as Lu Ming broke through to the Illusionary Divine stage, that would be their chance. Alright, there are so many people here today. I hope Senior will keep his word. The Wind Clan's patriarch said. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. With Lu Ming's talent, it was almost certain that he would become a celestial emperor. As long as Lu Ming broke through to the Void Emperor realm, he would get rid of Lu Ming at all costs. This old man is a man of his word. Get lost. Uncle Kong's voice rang out. Then his walking stick trembled and disappeared without a trace. The clan leader of the Wind clan cast a cold glance at Lu Ming, then turned around and left. "Let's go," Lu Ming said. Then he left the place with Xianxiangbella and the rest. They headed towards the peak of the mountain. They wanted to exchange their spoils of war for resources. He knew very well that the reason why Uncle Kong had set such a rule was to train him. After he broke through to the Void the Arch realm, all of the other Void Thearchs would be able to take action. This would indeed put a lot of pressure on him, but it would also have the effect of tempering himself. Of course, if the opponent's true emperor were to attack, it wouldn't be a test but a crushing defeat. These conditions gave the Wind race, the Golden Crow race, and the other forces hope to kill Lu Ming. Naturally, the other party agreed. Otherwise, it would be like what the other party had said, to fight to the death. All of this naturally had to be built on the terrifying battle power of Uncle Kong. Only a powerful deterrent would be able to make the other party yield. Lu Ming and the others came to the place where they could exchange for treasures and resources. This time, no one made things difficult for them. They exchanged all the third eye of the three-eyed god race for various treasures that they could use. Lu Ming mainly focused on sacred medicine and raw gemstones. In the mountain and river diagram in the Phoenix Palace's encampment, Lu Ming kept throwing sacred medicine into the Dayan elixir furnace. He controlled the elixir fire to refine the sacred medicine, and the medicinal power of the sacred medicine seeped into Qiuyu's body. Qiuyu was floating quietly in the Dayan elixir furnace. Her face was ruddy and she looked normal, but she had not woken up. Now that the foreign tribes have invaded, we don't know where Vientiane Tower is. Qiuyu, after we have quelled the foreign tribes, one will definitely look for Vientiane Tower and find a way to save you, Lu Ming said softly. He then closed the lid of the furnace and kept the Dayan elixir furnace in his sea of consciousness. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and arrived at another mountain peak. Heavenly Emperor Heng Ye's physical body stood on the peak of the mountain, constantly absorbing the energy of the outside world. However, the energy stored in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body during this period of time was still less than 1%. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was like an incomparably huge water tank, and energy was like water. It was too difficult to fill this water tank with water. After such a long period of time, including the 1 million or so high-grade raw stones that Lu Ming had consumed previously, it was still less than 1%. Who knew how long it would take to reach 100%? However, this was the body left behind by the Celestial the Arch. Even if there was only 10% of the energy stored in it, the power would still be shocking when it exploded. At this moment, Lu Ming took out a pile of bracelets. They were all the storage bracelets he had obtained from the three-eyed god. He then organized the items in the storage bracelets. Then there was a pile of black crystals on the ground. They were piled up like a mountain and no one knew how many pieces there were. This kind of crystal was also a kind of energy crystal, very similar to a raw stone. However, it was not raw qi inside but a strange energy. Warriors could also absorb and refine it, but the difficulty of refining it was higher than raw qi. Lu Ming planned to fuse the energy of these crystals into the Celestial Thearch's body. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming waved his hand and a large number of crystals exploded, turning into surging energy that was absorbed by the Celestial Thearch's body. In the next few days, Lu Ming did not participate in any battles. He focused on helping the Celestial Thearch's physical body refine the crystals. In 3 days, all the crystals had been refined, and the energy stored in the Celestial Emperor's body had finally broken through 1% and reached about 1.5%. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. He was getting closer and closer to 10%. Back then, the Celestial Emperor's mark had told him that he could only control the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body when he could control 10% of the stored energy. This was because the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body was made of stone. Right now it was like a puppet. Without enough energy it couldn't be activated. As long as the energy stored in the Celestial Thearch's body reached 10%, it would become Lu Ming's greatest trump card. In the following days he was still fighting against the three-eyed god race and tempering himself on the battlefield. It was unknown if it was because the three-eyed god race's forces were split into 8, but the forces that came to the ancient Moon Holy Land side were not strong. After another half a month, the three-eyed god race was gradually suppressed by the ancient Moon Holy Land's forces, and they were even forced to retreat. Looks like the three-eyed god race wasn't that hard to deal with after all. At this moment, a piece of news spread throughout Mount Yuan. In the ancient capital of Mount Yuan, the Skyfire Emperor, Huntian Emperor, and Formless Emperor announced to the world that they had gathered all the experts in the entire Mount Yuan to prepare for a full-on counterattack. As soon as the news came out, Mount Yuan was shaken. Countless powerful cultivators gathered at the ancient capital of Mount Yuan. Lu Ming and the rest were overjoyed when they heard the news. These three great emperors were the three great emperors who founded the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Back then, there was no news of the three great emperors after the battle at the Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming and the rest were worried that the three great emperors would be in trouble. Now it seemed that they were all fine. In ancient Moon Holy Land, all the major forces sent their experts to the Yuan Mountain ancient capital. They met up with the other experts and started their counterattack. Lu Ming and the rest followed the Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect cultivators to the ancient capital of Mount Yuan to participate in the battle. The ancient capital of Mount Yuan was located in the north of Mount Yuan. A long time ago, this place was once the #1 holy land of Mount Yuan. However, after the appearance of the Heavenly Emperor City, it had stepped down from the #1 throne. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they discovered that countless experts had gathered at the ancient capital of Mount Yuan. They came from all over the place. Chapter 1997, Chapter 1997, The Origin of Evil Spirit? Chapter 1997, The Origin of Evil Spirit. Lu Ming and the rest would find a place to stay. 3 days later. Clang, clang, clang. The majestic sound of the bell reverberated throughout the ancient capital of Mount Yuan. The great emperor had gathered all the experts. In the ancient capital of Mount Yuan, countless powerful cultivators gathered towards the source of the bell. So many experts. Lu Xiangxiang raised her head and looked around. Countless figures whistled past. Some people had particularly terrifying auras. Even if they didn't deliberately release their auras, the faint emperor pressure could still be clearly felt. A martial supreme. Many martial emperor powerhouses had turned into an army of martial emperors. The number of emperor-ranked forces that were scattered outside the 9 sacred lands gathered together was astonishing. Of course, the absolute saints and emperor-to-be were the most numerous. It was extremely difficult to vindicate Tao and become an emperor. Since ancient times, countless warriors had been stuck at the emperor-to-be realm. Therefore, at a glance, there were emperors-to-be everywhere. Not long after, they arrived at an extremely wide square. In the middle of the square, there was a large bell that was constantly vibrating. Countless figures had already gathered around the square. With so many experts gathered together to launch an attack, it's really going to destroy the world. Lu Ming was also secretly shocked. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. More and more experts came and more people gathered around the square. Look, it's the ancient Sun's sacred lands Xinyuan Empire and the Purple Flame Villa, the only sacred hall. Someone muttered nearby. Lu Ming looked over and saw the people from the 3 major forces of the ancient Sun's sacred land. Among the crowd from the Xinyuan Empire, Ouyang Wushuang looked at Lu Ming and the rest. He smiled and nodded. However, the strongest force in the ancient Yang Holy Land, the Daluo Heaven Sect, did not come. It's the people from the Sky Shen Holy Land and the Dragon Abyss Sacred Land. The powerful forces of the Holy Lands arrived one after another. Behind them, there were still a few more ancient race beings descending. Lu Ming saw Xian Yinjuan in the crowd of the ancient Saint clan. He was dressed in a snow-white robe and was very eye-catching. The ancient Saint clan was an extremely powerful ancient clan. There were strong and weak ancient clans. Some of the ancient races were slightly weaker, such as the Wind race. Although the Wind race was an ancient race, they didn't have a great emperor. As for the ancient Saint clan, it was said that they had a great emperor in charge. However, the 2 famous emperor-level forces of the Heavenly Emperor City, the Hung clan and the He clan, had not seen a single person. The Hung family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven Sect are 3 great emperor-level forces. Why didn't anyone come? Many people were disappointed. With the addition of 3 emperor-level forces, they were much stronger. Perhaps the 3 forces will fight elsewhere. I'm just afraid that they'll hide and not fight. Many people were guessing. At this moment, 3 figures suddenly appeared in the sky, and the entire place fell silent. The 3 great emperors had arrived. Lu Ming and the others had seen one of the elders before. It was Emperor Formless. As for the other 2, one of them was a burly man in a fiery red robe. He must be the Sky Fire Emperor. The other was a black-robed old man, Huntian Emperor. When the 3 great emperors appeared, the entire place fell silent. This old man is Wuxiang. I am Skyfire. This old man is Huntian. The 3 great emperors spoke up. Greetings, great emperor. Everyone bowed in respect. As long as the Heavenly Emperor didn't show up, the great emperor was at the peak, worthy of everyone's respect. Thank you for coming. Next, we'll fight the enemy together. Emperor Formless said. I'm willing to live and die with the great emperor. Many people shouted. Okay, but before the battle, I'll tell you about the origins of the alien races. I'm afraid many people here don't know about them. Emperor Wuxia said. Many people shook their heads. During this period of time, they only knew that the alien race came from another world. They were brutal, killing anyone they saw. Everyone knows that the world we live in is the primordial realm, and the world next to the primordial realm is the heaven realm. The two worlds are twin worlds that can communicate with each other. However, the history of the heaven realm's path of cultivation far exceeds that of the primordial realm. In fact, many of the primordial realm's cultivation methods were passed down from the heaven realm. As Emperor Formless explained, everyone listened quietly. Many of them had already known about this secret. As for the alien races, they come from another world called the evil prison world. The living beings of this world call themselves the god race, but it's just a boast. We call them the evil race or the evil god race. In ancient times, the evil god tribe opened a void tunnel and invaded the heaven realm. They engaged in a bitter war with the heaven realm. The evil god tribe was ruthless and brutal. Wherever they went, not a blade of grass would grow. They would kill any living being they saw. All living beings were plunged into misery and suffering, and blood flowed like rivers. They didn't even let the old, weak women and children off. Emperor Formless waved his hand, and images appeared in the air. Within the images were images of the evil god race's attack. Wherever they passed by, countless living beings would die tragically, and their corpses would form mountains. It was a tragic sight. Many scenes flashed by. Some of them were of great battles, and many powerful forces were annihilated by the evil god tribe. Lu Ming realized that other than the three-eyed god race, there were other races in the evil god race. Each and every one of them was extremely terrifying and strange. In ancient times, the heaven realm was no match for them. Countless experts died in battle, and countless powerful forces were annihilated. At that time, when the war reached its peak, the space was pierced through. Many ruins of the heaven realm fell into the primordial realm. The corpses of some experts fell into the primordial realm, forming some of the forbidden lands today. Of course, there were also strong practitioners from the evil god tribe who took the opportunity to enter the primordial realm. Later on, the space repaired itself, and it was already very difficult for the evil god tribe to come over. The evil god race that entered the primordial realm back then secretly formed a terrifying force, such as the devil spirit cult and the evil spirit cult. They specialize in hunting down the primordial realm's prodigies and strong practitioners. Last time, it was these existences that opened the void passage and let the evil god race enter Celestial Emperor City. After Emperor Formless' explanation, many people finally understood what was going on. So forces like the demon spirit religion and evil spirit religion were created by the experts of the evil god race. No wonder. These evil cults should be eradicated as soon as possible. Many people were discussing. Evil spirit. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. Right now, the Azure region was still under the control of evil spirit. However, the void passageway that the evil god tribe opened up this time around is only a small one. It's not very stable, and those at the great sovereign realm or above can't pass through. If they were to force their way through, the void passageway would collapse. Therefore, only those below the great sovereign realm can pass through. Emperor Formless said. Everyone's eyes lit up. It turned out that the other party's great emperor and above experts couldn't come over. This was definitely good news. It's too early for you all to be happy. This is only a small-scale battle. In the future, if the evil god tribe really breaks open the void and opens a stable void passageway, or if the remaining powerhouses of the heaven realm are lost, then the evil god tribe will descend on a large scale. Therefore, the final battle will come sooner or later. Emperor Formless continued, causing many people to fall silent, their expressions grave. Chapter 1998, Chapter 1998, The Weapon of the Primal Chaos Emperor. Chapter 1998, The Weapon of the Primal Chaos Emperor. That's right, if the other party were to launch a large-scale attack in the future, what would happen? Some people revealed looks of despair. Therefore, we must win this battle. If we can't even win this small-scale battle, how are we going to fight in the future? How are we going to fight the final battle? How are we going to annihilate the evil god tribe? Emperor Formless' voice suddenly rose in pitch, and his aura grew stronger and stronger, as if he was a tiger that could swallow the world. Many people clenched their fists tightly. Are you guys willing to chase after us and win this battle? Annihilate the evil god tribe and protect your family, your loved ones, and your friends? Emperor Formless' voice grew louder and louder, filled with an indomitable will. I'm willing. Many people roared, their voices shaking the firmament. Especially some young people, their blood was boiling. Wasn't it just the evil god tribe? It was just a battle. In order to protect what he wanted to protect, so what if he died in battle? Alright. Next, split into 3 armies led by the 3 of us. Form a triangular formation and completely annihilate the evil god tribe, Emperor Formless announced. After that, all the experts were divided into 3 armies, led by 3 great emperors. All the forces of ancient Moon Holy Land followed Emperor Formless. A day later, the army set off and charged towards the evil god tribe. Of course, the martial sovereigns on their side would deal with the emperor-level powerhouses on the other side, and those below the martial sovereign level would deal with those below the martial sovereign level. In this battle, they had almost wiped out the evil god tribe's army in the northern part of the Mount Yuan sacred land. After that, the evil god tribe mobilized their armies from a few other directions. There were also armies from the Heavenly Emperor city that came over. Both sides started a fierce battle in the north of the Yuan mountain. This battle became a stalemate that lasted for half a year. For the past half a year, Lu Ming and the rest had been in constant battles, tempering themselves at all times. They often walked on the edge of life and death. To them, their improvement was extremely fast. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm and was slowly approaching the perfected Absolute Saint Realm. His combat strength was even more shocking. An ordinary emperor-to-be would not even be left with a single punch. Huang Ling, Long Qin, and Huang Li had also made great progress. All of them had entered the perfected Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Qianni had even successfully cultivated the light of law. As for Huang Ling, Long Qin, and the others, they had also touched the edge of the light of law. As long as one didn't die, the results of training in a life-and-death situation would be shocking. If they were to cultivate normally, they would not be able to break through without a few years. Lu Xiangxiang had improved the fastest. Not only had she entered the great saint perfection early on, but she had also stimulated her potential during a great battle and broken through her limit in one fell swoop, entering the Absolute Saint Realm. Even Lu Ming was very envious of this speed. However, after entering the Absolute Saint Realm, Xiangxiang Bella's cultivation speed had also slowed down. In the past 6 months, Lu Ming had brought Ouyang Moli, Xuaningxin, Tianchue, and a few others to participate in the battles. They had all made great progress. Ouyang Moli had the reincarnation body. In addition to the world core of the reincarnation emperor, his cultivation speed was even more terrifying. It was as if he was riding a rocket. It was only a matter of time before he caught up to Xiangxiang Bella. In the past half a year, Lu Ming had killed countless 3-eyed god race experts and obtained countless resources. These resources were all converted into energy and absorbed by the Celestial Thearch's body. The energy stored in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body had finally reached 9%, not far from 10%. After half a year of intense battle, they had gained the upper hand in all aspects. They had taken back all the land that the evil god tribe had occupied and started to attack the Heavenly Emperor city. However, the evil god tribe had set up layers of defenses in the Heavenly Emperor city by relying on the city walls. After many battles, even though they had killed countless evil god tribe members, the evil god tribe was always able to replenish their numbers in an endless stream. On this day, Lu Ming had just returned to the military camp after killing for a while. An elder came to look for him. Lu Ming recognized this elder. He was a teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The 3 great emperors want to see me? When the teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy stated his purpose for coming, Lu Ming was a little stunned. What did the 3 great emperors want to see him for? Lu Ming did not ask much. He followed the teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute and arrived at a military tent. In the tent, the 3 great emperors sat together and seemed to be discussing something. Lu Ming, you're here. Upon seeing Lu Ming, Emperor Formless smiled. Greetings to the 3 great emperors. Lu Ming bowed and the teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy left. Lu Ming, I'm looking for you because I need your help. Emperor Formless laughed. You need my help? Lu Ming was even more confused. Why did the great emperor ask him for help? If even the great emperor couldn't handle it, there was no use looking for him. Lu Ming, you've seen the battle during this period of time. Although we have the upper hand and have been killing the evil god tribe continuously, the evil god tribe has always been able to replenish their numbers. It's all because of that void passageway. As long as we have that void passageway, we won't be able to completely annihilate the evil god tribe. We can only form a stalemate and the Yuan mountain will never be able to settle down. Emperor Wuxia said. Of the three great emperors, Emperor Notionless was the most eloquent, so he was the one who usually spoke up. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, the void passageway was the foundation. As long as the void passageway existed, they would not be able to annihilate the evil god tribe completely. But what did this have to do with him? With his current cultivation he couldn't be of much help at all. If we want to defeat the evil god tribe, we'll have to seal that void passageway. We'll need your help, Lu Ming. Emperor Wuxiang said. Great Emperor, please feel free to ask. As long as Lu Ming can help, one will definitely not decline. Lu Ming said. Alright, we'll take you to a place. Notionless Emperor nodded. With a wave of his hand, a surge of energy enveloped Lu Ming. Space cracked open, and the three emperors disappeared from the military tent with Lu Ming. The next moment they arrived at a valley. He did not know where this valley was, but it seemed to be very well hidden. There was a powerful force in the air. After coming here, Lu Ming felt an inexplicable throbbing as if something was attracting him. The few of them walked forward and came to a concave land. Lu Ming saw a huge stone plate on the ground in front of him. It was round and looked like a formation plate. It looked very ancient and was filled with the aura of time. The stone plate was embedded in the ground. No, it should be said that the stone plate fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Lu Ming could sense that the thing that attracted him was this stone tray. This stone plate has the aura of the laws of chaos. Lu Ming could not help but say. You've sensed it? Yes, this stone plate does have the aura of the chaos laws. We speculate that this stone plate is likely to be the weapon used by one of the most powerful experts in the heaven realm, the Chaos the Arch, in the ancient times. The Sky Fire Monarch spoke with a deep voice, the weapon of the Chaos the Arch. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. Chapter 1999, Chapter 1999, The Gathering of Great Emperors. Chapter 1999, The Gathering of Great Emperors. Primal Chaos Emperor. This stone plate might be a weapon used by the Primal Chaos Emperor. The Primal Chaos Emperor was his master, and the Primal Chaos scripture came from him. It was no wonder that Lu Ming felt that the stone tray had been attracting him ever since he arrived. Lu Ming, we speculate that this stone disc has a terrifying sealing power. If we can control it, we can seal the void passageway of the evil god tribe. It's a pity that we've tried all kinds of methods but we can't control this stone disc. That's why we thought of you. You're the son of chaos and you cultivate the laws of chaos. You might be able to control this stone plate and revive it. Emperor Wuxiang said. Alright, 111 try. Lu Ming nodded and stepped forward to the stone tray. The stone plate was huge like a small mountain. Lu Ming circulated the law of chaos and spread it toward the stone plate. But when the laws of chaos enveloped the stone plate, it seemed to resonate with the stone plate and the stone plate trembled. Sure. The eyes of Emperor Formless, Emperor Skyfire, and Emperor Huntian all lit up. Continue. Lu Ming continued to control the chaos laws, constantly enveloping the stone plate from a distance. But the stone plate began to shake violently. Because it had been there for too long, it was covered in a layer of rocks. At this time the rocks shattered, revealing the stone plate. The stone plate was gray like a chaotic stone, and there were some strange runes carved on it. At that moment the runes all lit up. Boom. In the end, the stone plate vibrated and flew up, hovering above Lu Ming's head. At this moment Lu Ming's mind was buzzing. He seemed to see a tall and sturdy figure controlling the array disc and fighting against the enemy. Primal Chaos Emperor. Lu Ming had an idea. That figure was indeed the Chaos the Arch. This stone plate seemed to really be the weapon of the Chaos Emperor. What a profound chaos law. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to sense an extremely mysterious and ancient law of chaos from the stone plate. It was many times faster than what he had comprehended. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have a deeper understanding of the laws of chaos. During this period of cultivation, his comprehension of the chaotic laws had already reached 95%, but now he felt that he was approaching 96%. But the stone disc continued to shake and the figure of the Chaos the Arch disappeared. The stone disc began to shrink and finally fell into Lu Ming's hands. Haha, it seems like I've succeeded. Emperor Formless laughed. Skyfire Emperor and Huntian Emperor also smiled. However, the smiles on the three great emperors' faces immediately disappeared. Lu Ming, Our original plan was to lead the army and launch a general attack to attract the enemy's attention. Then, the great emperors would suddenly charge in and kill their way to the void passageway. Then we would seal the void passageway with the chaos stone disk. However, you also know that although the other party's great emperors can't enter, there are still many great emperors left here. 2 of them were killed by the celestial emperor's corporeal body, so there are still 8 left. We've killed another one recently, so there are still 7 of them. Therefore it's very dangerous to go. We won't force you to go. If you don't want to go, well, find another way. Emperor Wuxia said. That's right. Although we'll try our best to protect you, the other party is a great emperor. There's no guarantee that nothing will go wrong. So, you have to make your own decision. The Sky Fire Emperor followed. After all, this matter was too dangerous. Lu Ming had to make his own decision. He'll go. Lu Ming agreed without much consideration. As a man, there were things he should do and things he shouldn't. How could he be afraid of death and refuse such a thing? The 3 emperors nodded in satisfaction at Lu Ming's determined gaze. Lu Ming, don't worry. Even if we die, we'll protect you. Emperor Wuxiang said. If you die, we will die too. Huntian Emperor spoke for the first time, but his voice was firm and powerful. Lu Ming was very touched. As a great emperor, he was high and mighty. He could have forced Lu Ming to join forces. Lu Ming could only obey. However, the other party did not. Instead, he asked for Lu Ming's opinion. He also promised that he would protect Lu Ming with his life. As a great emperor, he could do this. Lu Ming admired his character. Great Emperor, are there any other great emperors on our side? Lu Ming asked. Of course. 0 then, Vice, how could the 3 of us be a match for the evil god tribe? Emperor Wuxiang said. Realization dawned on Lu Ming. Indeed, it was only Emperor Notionless and the other 2. How could they be a match for the other party? Moreover, they had even killed one of the other party's people during this period of time. There were other great emperors in the dark. He'll take you to see him now. Notionless Emperor said. He then tore open space and brought Lu Ming back to the military camp. Then he sent a message. Not long after, the space fluctuated and a figure stepped into it. This figure was covered in a milky white light. It was the holy light. It was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Back then, the people from the Tsang region's Tianxin sect also cultivated the divine light. However, compared to this, they were simply trash. Great Emperor. Lu Ming knew that this was a great emperor, and his aura was not weaker than that of Emperor Notionless and the others. Lu Ming, this is the holy emperor of the ancient saint tribe. Emperor Formless introduced. Greetings, holy emperor. Lu Ming bowed. The chaos stone plate has awakened? Said the holy emperor. His voice was cold like a god high above. Not bad. Emperor Formless nodded, and the holy emperor didn't continue. Then there was a spatial fluctuation and another person arrived. This person was a great emperor from the ancient capital of Mount Yuan. He was like an unparalleled emperor. Just as the great emperor arrived, the void rippled and another figure descended. Uncle Kong. Lu Ming could not help but exclaim when he saw the figure. This figure was actually Uncle Kong. From this, it could be seen that Uncle Kong was indeed a great emperor. Could it be that Uncle Kong had been secretly participating in the battle this entire time? Greetings, Senior Dan Kong. When Uncle Kong arrived, Emperor Formless and the others all cupped their fists towards him and called him Senior. Even the cold and arrogant Holy Emperor and the Emperor-like Emperor saluted Uncle Kong. It seemed that Uncle Kong's seniority was high. And? Uncle Kong nodded. He looked very old. His muddy eyes looked at Lu Ming and said, "I'll escort Lu Ming in." We're relieved that Senior Dan Kong is taking action. Well, hold off the other great emperors. Emperor Wuxiang said. Seniors, why don't one see the Heng family and the He families? Lu Ming wanted to ask the Heng family, the He family, and the great emperors of the Daluo Heaven sect. How could they be missing at this critical moment? Don't mention those old foxes who are afraid of death. When there's a big battle, they all hide and want to reap the benefits. The Holy Emperor coldly snorted. He seemed to be very unhappy with the emperors from the He and Heng families. Chapter 2000 Launching a General Attack. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 2000. Chapter 2000 Launching a General Attack. The 6 great emperors discussed for a while and prepared to launch a general attack the next day. On the second day, all the experts gathered and charged towards Heavenly Emperor City. Kill. The sound waves soared to the sky and endless killing intent rose. Countless experts charged towards Heavenly Emperor City. Those below the rank of Marshal Supreme would attack from below, while those above would attack from above. Box novel. Kamboom. Boom. Terrifying rumbles came from all directions of Heavenly Emperor City. A great battle had erupted. The entire region seemed to be on the verge of exploding. The sky was torn apart as if it was the end of the world. It was boundlessly terrifying. Fortunately, the Heavenly Emperor City was built by the Heavenly Emperor in the past and was sturdy and immortal. Even such an intense battle would not be able to destroy the Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming, Uncle Kong and the rest stood high in the sky and watched from afar. "Well, make the first move," Wuxia Emperor said. Then the 5 great emperors turned into 5 streaks of light and rushed into Heavenly Emperor City. Kill? In the Heavenly Emperor City, a wild roar came out, and a terrifying light burst out, killing towards Emperor Wuxiang and the others. The battle between the great emperors broke out, and they fought their way to the endless high sky of the Heavenly Emperor City. Great emperors were too terrifying. If they fought below, the others would be affected and die in the aftermath of the battle. The battle was getting more and more intense. Even though they were far away, the wind was still howling and sweeping over. "Hallmaster, let's go." With a wave of Uncle Kong's hand, a wave of energy enveloped Lu Ming. Then he tore apart the void. In the next moment he had already arrived inside the Heavenly Emperor City. This was the place where the Heavenly Emperor Mountain used to be. There was a huge cave below, and from afar one could see a huge black vortex. Uncle Kong's figure moved once more, and they directly charged into the cave. Within the pitch-black vortex, there was a gigantic evil god race being. Its body was incomparably huge, and ordinary people were like ants in comparison. This gigantic evil god tribe being stretched out its 2 palms and held the 2 sides of the vortex. From time to time, some of the evil god tribe members would rush out of the vortex. There was a figure sitting cross-legged on the edge of the whirlpool. At this moment, the figure's gaze was like a divine sword as he looked at Uncle Kong and Lu Ming. "You want to take the void passage? Kill." This person shouted loudly and exploded with a terrifying aura. If Lu Ming had not been enveloped by Uncle Kong's power, he would have been shaken to death by the sound. This person was also a great Emperor Realm expert, and he was in charge of the spatial passage. Uncle Kong muttered. At this moment, Uncle Kong's hunched back became straight and his turbid eyes became bright like 2 stars. Terrifying sword chi shot into the sky and shook the world. Buzz! A beam of sword light sliced through the heavens and headed straight for the evil god race's emperor. Boom! The 2 attacks collided, and the underground cave shook violently. The void was torn apart, leaving many hideous holes. Some of the evil god tribe members who had just rushed out of the vortex were turned into ashes by the shockwaves. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! The long sword in Uncle Kong's hand trembled continuously, and the sword howls were endless. In an instant he had slashed out hundreds and thousands of times. Each sword could kill a peak true emperor expert. The evil god tribe's great emperor howled in anger and unleashed his full power to fight against Uncle Kong. However, at this moment the other party was being suppressed. "Hallmaster, now is the time." Uncle Kong sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. "Chaos Stone Plate." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The Chaos Stone disc flew out and expanded rapidly. In the end it became as big as a planet and was boundless. "Suppress." Lu Ming roared and controlled the Chaos Stone disc to suppress the void passage. The Chaos Stone Plate emitted a brilliant light as it tried to seal the spatial passageway. "You want to seal the void passage? Dream on." The evil god tribes the arch roared and used all his might, wanting to break through Uncle Kong's sword light and stop Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! Uncle Kong's feet moved in mysterious steps. With each step, light would burst out from his body. As he took each step, the light on his body became brighter and brighter, and his sword force also became stronger and stronger. He had already gained the upper hand and was suppressing the evil god tribe's great emperor. Blood splattered everywhere as a deep gash appeared on the evil god tribe's great emperor's body, causing him to roar out in madness. At this moment, the evil god tribe's great emperors in the sky had also seen what was happening in the spatial passageway. "Damn it, they want to seal the space passage. Stop them." Demon Spirit Religion Master roared. At this moment he was fighting against Emperor Wuxiang. Emperor Formless was formless and incorporeal. He transformed into thousands of figures that surrounded him. The other great emperors also held their opponents back. And NBSP, the most terrifying of them all, was Honey, an emperor. His battle power was terrifying, and he had the power to shake the world. He had single-handedly dragged down 2 great emperors. "Suppress." Lu Ming roared and the Chaos Stone Disc continued to suppress the void passageway. The gigantic evil god tribe member held the edge of the void passageway with one hand while the other held onto the Chaos Stone Plate. For a moment, the Chaos Stone Plate was actually blocked and could not be suppressed. In the end, Lu Ming's cultivation level was still too weak. On the other hand, the gigantic evil god race had at least the cultivation level of a true emperor. It was normal for them to be able to block it. Slash. At this moment, Uncle Kong shouted out coldly, and a sword light slashed out, chopping off the head of the gigantic evil god race member, splitting his head in half. The gigantic evil god tribe member let out a loud roar before falling down powerlessly, his body disappearing into the vortex. Boom. Without any resistance, the Chaos Stone Plate pressed down and blocked the void passage. Boom. 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 The Chaos Stone Plate trembled and was about to be completely embedded into the void. It became one with the void and sealed the void passageway. Boom. Boom. The Chaos Stone Plate kept shaking. The other side of the Chaos Stone Plate seemed to be under a terrifying attack. Buzz. In the next moment, Uncle Kong brought Lu Ming and landed on the Chaos Stone Disc. Endless energy from Uncle Kong's body surged into the Chaos Stone Disc, helping Lu Ming to suppress it. Don't even think about it, kill, kill. The evil god tribe's great emperor started to attack Uncle Kong madly. In the depths of the sky, the great emperor of the evil god tribe had also gone mad and was going all out. As such, Emperor Formless and the others were no longer able to stop him. Buzz. Buzz. A few figures charged into the cave. Kill. Kill. The evil god tribe's Thearchs started to launch a storm of attacks at Uncle Kong and Lu Ming. On one side, Uncle Kong had to suppress the Chaos Stone Disc and had to use a portion of his power. His battle power was naturally insufficient. The long sword in his hand shone with endless sword light. Although he blocked the attacks of the great emperors, he staggered and blood spilled from his mouth. Uncle Kong. Lu Ming was very worried. Fortunately, Emperor Formless and the others also arrived in the next moment. Following that, the other great emperors also rushed in, and a chaotic battle broke out. However, this space was very strange and large enough. Back then, the Lotus World had been here. There were 9 worlds which showed how large this space was. And NBSP the great emperors were in a chaotic battle, and Uncle Kong's power was constantly pouring into the Chaos Stone Plate. Lu Ming did his best to control the Chaos Stone Disc and activate its own power. Chapter 2001 Realm Gate. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 2001. Chapter 2001 Realm Gate. Boom. 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 The Chaos Stone Plate kept shaking as it pressed down on the spatial passage. With a final boom, the Chaos Stone Disc was completely embedded into the void passageway, as if it had fused with space. The void passage was completely sealed. Damn it, all of you are going to die. Box novel. Calm. The demon spirit religion master roared madly, and a terrifying power continued to attack Emperor Formless. The other evil god race's great emperors also unleashed their terrifying attacks. Their attacks were frenzied as though they had gone mad. With the void passageway sealed, it was equivalent to cutting off their source of soldiers. The evil god race that was left in Heavenly Emperor City would be wiped out sooner or later. You've lost. You're destined to fail. The Holy Emperor said coldly. Failure? What a joke. So what if you seal the passage? Other than you great emperors, who else can stop us? Well, kill everyone below the great emperor level, especially a Heaven's Pride expert like you. The demon spirit religion master's voice was incomparably cold, and it was filled with a terrifying killing intent. As he finished speaking, his cold eyes swept toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt a slight chill in his heart. Indeed, the other party still had 7 great emperors. This was a huge disaster. If the other party went into hiding and avoided the great emperors of the Yuan Mountain to hunt down those below the great emperor level, no one would be able to stop them. They would all die. The great emperors of Mount Yuan couldn't stay together every day. If they were separated, they would be attacked by the other party and even the great emperors would die. It was too dangerous for the 7 great emperors to attack without any hesitation. You don't stand a chance. Huntian Emperor, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke. Then he opened his palm and a door of light appeared. The moment this light door appeared, it instantly enlarged into a giant door that was 10,000 feet tall. A terrifying suction force erupted from the light door. Come in, let's go. Huntian Great Emperor said as he poured his power into the light door. The light door exploded with even more power, engulfing the 7 great emperors of the evil god tribe and trying to devour them. Damn it, it's the gate to the heaven realm. They want to take us to the heaven realm. Let's go. The evil god race's emperor lord roared and tried his best to charge out. Stay. At this moment, the notionless emperor, the holy emperor, the emperor-like emperor, and Uncle Kong were all using their full battle power to keep their opponents busy. Lu Ming was enveloped by Uncle Kong's energy and he was behind Uncle Kong. He could not interfere in such a great battle at all. Damn it, Celestial Emperor's corporeal body is only 10% away. One can't control it at all. Lu Ming was filled with hatred and could not wait to help. But the light door trembled and the suction force became stronger and stronger. It wanted to pull the 7 great emperors of the evil god race in. However, they resisted with all their might and they couldn't move at all. At this moment, the Skyfire Emperor also arrived at the light door. He poured his terrifying power into the light door, making it even more attractive. However, he was still lacking. The 7 great emperors of the evil god tribe attacked in a frenzy, and their attacks were too terrifying. Uncle Kong and the others only had 4 people. They tried their best to stop him, but the situation was very dangerous. Bang! Emperor Formless was struck. His body trembled and blood flowed from his mouth. But he still fought to the death and did not retreat. At the same time, the Holy Emperor was also hit and heavily injured. Heavenly Fire, let's start. Huntian Emperor looked at Skyfire Emperor. Alright. The Skyfire Emperor nodded. Boom. Boom. All of a sudden, Skyfire Emperor and Huntian Emperor's bodies exploded with a terrifying aura. Their bodies seemed to be on fire as if they were 2 men of fire. And the attraction of the looking out world gate suddenly increased several times. The 7 people from the evil god tribe felt a terrifying suction force, and their bodies slowly moved toward the world-gazing gate. The world-gazing gate led to the heaven realm. If one was sucked in, they would enter the heaven realm directly. If they didn't find the right void passage, they wouldn't be able to come back. This way he could solve the crisis of Yuan Mountain. You're crazy. You're all burning. The demon spirit religion master roared and charged forward. The other evil god tribe's emperors burst forth with all their might, and all sorts of astonishing powers blasted out toward Uncle Kong and the others. The power of the world-looking gate was useless to Uncle Kong and the others. Enter. Uncle Kong and the others blocked, not allowing the other party to charge out. 4 against 7, they were at an absolute disadvantage. At this moment, it wasn't just the formless emperor, the holy emperor, the emperor-like emperors, and even Uncle Kong. They were all injured. But they didn't care about their injuries and stood there like a divine wall. Come in. Huntian Emperor and Skyfire Emperor shouted. Their bodies seemed to become transparent as they tried to merge with the world-gazing gate, and the attraction force became stronger. No, I'm not willing. Finally, one of the evil god race's emperors couldn't hold on any longer and was sucked into the world-looking gate, disappearing from sight. The other evil god tribe's great emperors were alarmed as they roared out and started to fight for their lives. However, the Huntian Emperor and the Skyfire Emperor's bodies were almost about to merge into the Full View Gate. The Full View Gate's power was even stronger, causing great disturbance to the evil god emperor. Great Emperor! Lu Ming's heart trembled and he felt his nose turning sour. Huntian Emperor and Skyfire Emperor were obviously risking their lives to send the other party into the Heaven Realm to ensure the safety of Mount Yuan. In the Heaven Realm, most of the territories had been occupied by the evil god tribe. There were countless experts from the evil god tribe gathered there, and a few more great emperors would not make much of a difference. Get in. Emperor Notionless, Uncle Kong, and the others continued to attack, trying to force the other party through the world-viewing gate. But finally, another person was drawn into the world-gazing gate. Every time someone was attracted in, the pressure on Uncle Kong and company would decrease, and the resistance would decrease. No matter how unwilling the other party was, there was no way to reverse the situation. One by one they were drawn into the world-gazing gate and disappeared. A moment later, all of the evil god tribe's great emperors were drawn into the world-gazing gate. At this moment, Skyfire Emperor and Huntian Emperor's bodies became almost transparent. Everyone, he'll leave the Hoyuan Mountain to you. The Skyfire Emperor cupped his fists. You two take care. The Holy Emperor, Uncle Kong, and the others all cupped their fists. Their faces were filled with sadness and helplessness. Lu Ming also stepped forward, cupped his fists, and bowed to the 2 great emperors. At this moment he only had respect for the 2 great emperors. Lu Ming, with your talent, it won't be a problem for you to surpass us old guys in the future. I look forward to your growth. The Skyfire Emperor said with a smile. Huntian Emperor nodded and said nothing. But at this moment, the realm-gazing gate flashed and suddenly disappeared. Skyfire Emperor and Huntian Emperor also disappeared. Lu Ming's heart trembled. The two great emperors had disappeared just like that. Could they have fallen? It was obvious that the great emperors had planned everything. Lu Ming first used the Chaos Stone Plate to seal the void passageway, while the Huntian Emperor and the Skyfire Emperor used the world-looking gate to bring the evil god tribe's great emperor to the heaven realm. Chapter 2001 Hunting Foreign Races. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 2002. Chapter 2001 Hunting Foreign Races. Uncle Kong, could the two great emperors have already? Has he fallen? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. I don't think so. Uncle Kong shook his head but continued, but it's also very dangerous. They burned themselves to merge with the gate to increase its power, but their original chi is greatly damaged and they don't have much combat power left. And now, most of the Heaven Realm's territory is under the control of the evil god tribe. Now, they have been brought into the Heaven Realm by the gate to the Far Realm. If they are lucky and land in the territory of the human race or the demon race, it will be fine. But if they land in the territory of the evil god tribe, it will be dangerous. Box novel. Calm. After saying this, Uncle Kong sighed. They didn't have enough people, so this was the only way. If they had a few more great emperors, they might not have to use such an extreme method. Lu Ming's heart trembled. In other words, the fate of the two great emperors was unknown. The two emperors were high and mighty, dominating the world. They were almost immortal and were almost invincible in the Yuan Mountain. For such an existence to put himself in danger for the sake of Yuan Mountain, his life and death was uncertain. It was worthy of respect. Lu Ming, you don't have to be sad. Perhaps they will be fine. Emperor Formless consoled Lu Ming. I still have to be sad when I should be. The Holy Emperor's cold and arrogant voice rang out. He stared at Lu Ming and said, this battle was just a small interlude. The final battle will come sooner or later. We all understand this, and so do Huntian and Skyfire. They risked their lives to protect Mount Yuan, and more importantly, they wanted to protect the younger generation. Because your generation has reached a golden age where geniuses gather. You're the hope of the future. We'll only have hope if a real unparalleled expert can be born in your generation. So Lu Ming, grow up well. Definitely. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze was extremely determined. At this moment he thought of many things. Maybe the three great emperors who established the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and spent so much effort to gather all the heaven's favorites in the Yuan Mountain to nurture them was also to allow them to grow faster. It could be said that the three great emperors, Emperor Formless, Emperor Huntian, and Emperor Skyfire, didn't have any selfish motives. They were wholeheartedly fighting for the primordial realm and against the alien races. They didn't even care about their own lives. Let's go out. It's time to end this battle, he said. Emperor Wuxia said. Several great emperors stepped out, and in the next moment, they were in the sky above Heavenly Emperor City. The battle in Heavenly Emperor City was still going on, and it was extremely tragic. In the sky, many martial Emperor Realm experts were fighting each other. The scene was shocking. But a sword light burst forth from Uncle Kong's hand. A shocking sword light cut across the sky and split it open. Wherever the sword light passed by, the evil god tribe's true emperors would be killed. At the same time, Emperor Notionless and the Holy Emperor also made their moves. When a great emperor attacked, it was a complete suppression. One by one, the true emperors and void emperors of the evil god tribe were killed. The emperor's blood stained the sky. In the blink of an eye, dozens of great emperors from the evil god tribe were killed. The great emperors have won. Someone from Mount Yuan shouted when he saw the great emperor make a move. The great emperor has won. The roars became stronger and stronger, and the morale of the Yuan Mountain people increased greatly. As for the evil god race, their morale was greatly reduced. They saw the great emperor of the Yuan Mountain land making a move, but they didn't see the great emperor of the evil god race making a move. At this moment they were all panicking. With the four great emperors taking action, the evil god race's great emperors were all killed one by one. With that, the great emperors of the Yuan Mountain were free and the battle became one-sided. Large numbers of the evil god race were killed. Retreat, retreat. Some of the evil god race members roared. Retreat and hide. Countless members of the evil god race flew in all directions. Some flew out of Heavenly Emperor City, some flew directly into Heavenly Emperor City, and some even sank into the ground. Kill, don't let a single one off. The cultivators of the Yuan mountain roared as they chased after the evil god race. The 4 great emperors killed a few more experts from the evil god tribe before stopping. In the previous battle, the 4 great emperors had been seriously injured and needed to recuperate. Uncle Kong, are you guys alright? Lu Ming was a little worried. It's fine. I'm getting on in years. They'll be fine after a period of recuperation, Uncle Kong said. His eyes became cloudy again, and the aura around his body seemed to be very weak. Lu Ming, we're going to recuperate. I'll leave the rest to you, Emperor Wuxia said. Then the 4 great emperors left the place. As for Lu Ming, he sent a message to Huang Ling and the others. He found their location and met up with them to hunt down the evil god tribe members who had escaped. This pursuit continued for a few days. Countless members of the evil god race were killed, and their corpses covered the entire Heavenly Emperor City. However, there were still many members of the evil god race who had escaped into the wild mountains or various secret places to hide. One could imagine that if these evil god races weren't eliminated, sooner or later, they would turn into forces like the evil spirit religion and the demon spirit religion, who would hunt down the strong and proud children of the primordial realm. A few days later, the great emperor sent out an order, summoning everyone to hunt down the evil god race in the Yuan mountain. There would be corresponding rewards. For a period of time, countless people formed teams and hunted around the Yuan mountain. They wiped out the evil god race and many of them were caught and killed. Time flew by and 2 months passed. On this day, Lu Ming, Feng Ling, Long Qin, and the rest were flying towards a wild mountain. Wei Xian, are you sure? Is it really in this direction? Desolate Li looked at a young man with a puzzled expression. There shouldn't be any mistake. It's this direction, the young man said. The young man's name was Wei Xian. He was a member of the Dragon Alliance of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. 2 months ago, he had joined Lu Ming's team. Wei Xian had a strong tracking talent. He could track his enemies based on extremely weak smells and auras. In the past 2 months, they had already tracked down and killed a few batches of the evil god race. Most of it was due to Wei Xian's tracking technique. However, this time around they had already been tracking for 3 days and still had not found the evil god tribe. It was no wonder that Huang Li would be suspicious. They continued to fly and after a while Wei Xian suddenly stopped. Why aren't you moving? Everyone was puzzled. What a strong smell of blood. Wei Xian frowned. The smell of blood? I don't smell it. Desolate's nose twitched, but he could not smell anything. I smell it. What a strong smell of blood. Chirp chirp. Bubbles sat on Lu Ming's shoulder and sniffed. Let's go. Lu Ming's face darkened. Wei Xian led the way and flew toward the place with the smell of blood. Not long after they arrived at a town. But now this town was lifeless and deathly silent. Everyone was dead. Blood dyed the earth red, and the smell of blood was extremely strong. In the town, corpses formed mountains and blood flowed like rivers. There were at least 1 million people in this town and now all of them had been killed. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.